Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the opening session of the Partner2Connect Annual Meeting. I'm Max Jacobson-Gonzalez and I will be your MC today. Before we begin, I'd like you to watch with me the P2C video, which has been especially created for this. Thank you.
Despite 30 years of steady growth, today billions of people remain offline and hundreds of millions more still lack the connectivity required to tap onto the transformative power of the internet. The Partner2Connect Digital Coalition, launched by ITU in collaboration with the UN Secretary General's Envoy on Technology and the UN OHR-LLS, is set to change this paradigm by mobilizing resources, partnerships and commitments to achieve universal and meaningful connectivity. To date, hundreds of pledges worth billions of dollars have been submitted through the P2C platform by entities from all around the world. But the coalition's work doesn't stop here. In fact, it is just getting started. Empowered by the two new resolutions on P2C and digital transformation adopted in Kigali at the 2022 World Telecommunication Development Conference, Partner2Connect will scale pledges, track progress on implementation, and mobilize more resources and partnerships. P2C will also be working with partner countries to facilitate the implementation of the P2C Action Framework and the P2C pledges to accelerate digital transformation at the national level. Find out more. Join Partner2Connect. Make a pledge for any of the focus areas of the coalition and help us come closer to our goal of a meaningfully connected planet. Visit www.itu.int/partner2connect.
There you have it. Just for those who are unfamiliar with the room, you can put your headphones or little earpieces on here, and there's a little button here with like a headset there. Do not press the other button or the camera will be suddenly focusing on you. So the one with somebody speaking there. So if I can just remind you to try and do that. As I say, it's just the headphone button there, unless you are one of the speakers, of course. Anyway, here we go. Let's start and get the ball rolling. Esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first Partner2Connect annual meeting here in Geneva, Switzerland, and online as well. And we're thrilled that you have chosen to be part of this great day where you will hear from industry leaders on digital transformation, the progress that the P2C coalition and pledges have made on pledge implementation, the work that ITU is doing in partner countries, as well as new pledge announcements. In-person participants will also be able to take part in a breakout session to dive into more details of the pledge implementation and partnerships. And the event today will also feature the Equals in Tech ceremony to celebrate those initiatives, projects, organizations, and institutions around the world that have displayed extraordinary commitment to reducing the digital gender divide. I'd also like to thank Roden Schwartz for sponsoring the welcome coffee this morning, which hopefully some of you managed to partake in. Now, this session is available remotely, and as I mentioned, is also webcast, live streamed and recorded. As an online participant, you are free to use the chat during the session for any comments that you may have, which will be recorded. And we will also include participants in our conversation during the Q&A part of the session if time allows. Questions addressed to speakers should be inserted in the Q&A function of Zoom. The language of the event will be in English. However, but during the session, we will provide captioning services that you can activate by clicking on closed caption in the bottom bar on the Zoom interface. On-site participants will have to use their earpiece, as I mentioned, in front of them to listen to remote speakers. Now, I have the great pleasure to introduce you to our distinguished speakers joining us today, who will be opening the very first P2C annual meeting. So let me now welcome our speakers here on stage. Ms. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, who is Director of the ITU Telecommunication Development Bureau and ITU Secretary General-elect, Mr. Thomas Schneider, who is Ambassador, Head of International Affairs the Federal Office of Communications, Ofcom for Switzerland, and Mr. You had to help me, there's this one. Nkosi, I think I can pronounce that one okay. Ambassador and Permanent Representative of South Africa to the United Nations Office in Geneva and other international organizations in Switzerland. And we also have Ms. Rabab Fatima, the Undersecretary General and High Representative of the least developed countries, landlocked developing countries and small island developing states, UNOHRLLS, who unfortunately couldn't be here with us today, but has sent a video message. So I would now like to invite Ms. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, Director of the ITU Telecommunication Development Bureau and Secretary General-elect, to give us her welcome remarks. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Max and Excellencies, broadband commissioners, partners and friends of the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition, members of the UN development community, colleagues, welcome. It's a great pleasure to be hosting you here in Geneva today for our first annual Partner2Connect reporting meeting. When I say first annual, that means more to come, so stay tuned. And of course, this is also one of our last big meetings before the year wraps up. So I think it's a great way to wind down and welcome 2023. A big welcome to our Partner2Connect supporters that are joining remotely from all over the world. Welcome to you. As most of you know, it was just over a year ago on the margins of the UN General Assembly that we launched Partner2Connect in close cooperation with the Office of the UN Secretary General's Envoy on Technology and the difficult acronym OHRLLS, the Undersecretary General for Least Developed Countries, Landlocked Developing Countries, and Small Island Developing States. I think looking back over the past year, I'm absolutely amazed at what we have accomplished together, emphasis together. I think that the power of partnerships, the shared vision that we all have, and clearly a genuine willingness to cooperate is absolutely tremendous, and it has brought us to where we are today. Several months ago, and as a result of a multi-stakeholder and open consultation process, we launched the action framework, and that action framework serves as the guiding document for the coalition, and it's based on 4 focus areas. Max may take us through them later. We then, after we launched the action framework, we opened the pledging platform, through which resources from both the public sector and private sector players, civil society, academic institutions were mobilized. We have amassed, but this number will increase as the day goes on, 552 pledges worth 29.74 billion. We're hoping we get to 30 by the end of the day, from some 263 entities based in 115 countries around the globe. And as I said, I expect more to come today. We did host, and many of you were with us, a very successful Partner2Connect development roundtable at the World Telecommunications Development Conference in Kigali, where we had over 100 speakers that made very powerful commitments in less than 3 minutes, which was also a sort of big first for the UN. And that roundtable actually led to the unanimous adoption at the conference of a very strong resolution supporting the continuation of Partner2Connect and actually pushing us to extend both our reach as well as our impact. We have developed a very clear, I think, self-monitoring and reporting process tool that has enabled us to track as well as to report on the implementation of the Partner2Connect pledges. We continue to build and to grow the extraordinary P2C community, a vibrant and an action-oriented group that is striving towards meaningful connectivity for all. Your efforts to partner to connect go to the core of the vision outlined by the UN Secretary General in his roadmap for digital cooperation. They're also supporting the ongoing efforts to lay the groundwork for a solid and effective global digital compact. So this session is all about moving from vision to action. And last week, Ambassador Snyder and I were in Addis Ababa together, as were others, for the Internet Governance Forum. And one consistent message that came through repeatedly throughout the week was that it was time to stop talking and time to act. That's exactly what we're doing here. And you'll see that in today's program. We're going to have a look at remaining challenges as well as opportunities. And as Max mentioned, we're also going to have some hands-on breakout sessions. So we're also going to do some work today. We'll be celebrating, because I think it is an opportunity to celebrate the many achievements of the coalition. We're also going to analyze the application of the pledges. We'll hear some new pledges, as I mentioned, inspiring pledges. And we're also going to look at the way forward, which I think is important. We'll look at the way forward, and we will present to you how we intend to strengthen the coalition in the months and years ahead. And given that today is all about action, let's see if we can use this meeting to energize our efforts and push the dial a little bit higher. So I'm putting out a call to those of you that are here physically, to those of you that are online. If you haven't joined us yet, if you haven't made a pledge yet, it's not too late. And you can use this occasion today, and of course, after today, to come forward and to make a pledge, or to strengthen perhaps an existing pledge, so that we can really show the world how committed we all are to advancing global, meaningful connectivity for all. We're also very fortunate to have today our Equals in Tech award ceremony. Mats, you have been with us for Equals in Tech on many occasions, having been kind of a co-founder of Equals in Tech. So it's great to have you here for that. And Equals in Tech is about bridging the digital gender gap. So today we'll also be celebrating the incredible winners. We had nominations come from around the world, a rigorous judging process, and we look forward to meeting the winners and also to hearing their inspiring stories, which I think give us all hope and give us all reason to do more and to redouble our efforts to bridge the digital gender gap. And with that, again, thank you so much for being here. And Max, I'll hand back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Doreen, for those opening remarks. Now, we will now watch a specially recorded video message from Ms. Rabab Fatima, who is Under Secretary General and High Representative for Least Developed Countries, Landlocked Developing Countries and Small Island Developing States, UNOHRLLS. Thank you.
Warm greetings from New York. I'm delighted to have this opportunity to share some thoughts with you on the first Partner2Connect annual meeting. Our presence here today is a real credit to the significant achievements made by this incredible alliance. Thanks to our concerted efforts, we have a world that is getting better connected. That means better opportunities and a better future for people and communities, especially in the 91 most vulnerable countries supported by my office, belonging to three groups: the least developed countries, the landlocked developing countries, and the small island developing states. I'm very pleased to share that as of last week, 169 pledges amounting to $12 billion of vital investments have been made for the LDCs, LLDCs, and the CITs through the Partner2Connect initiative. And this was achieved just in the last 9 months, since the launch of the action framework of the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition initiative. The launch, very importantly, coincided with the adoption of the Doha Protocol.
including over 500 pledges and so far over 28 billion, hopefully again, as you said, 30 billion for connectivity projects around the world. These projects are more pressing than ever to overcome the still existing connectivity barriers. According to the latest report of the ITU UNESCO-led UN Broadband Commission for Sustainable Development, the pandemic has accelerated the uptake of broadband and the adoption of digital. But at the same time, 2.7 billion people are still without broadband, and in some areas, the pandemic and other regional and global tragedies have held up or even set back the steady progress towards connecting the unconnected. So we must redouble our efforts. Access to infrastructure is a fundamental prerequisite to benefit from the opportunities that ICTs offer, especially in times of crisis and conflict within and between societies and nations, in times when fundamental values and rules are at stake. However, reaching out to those at the bottom of the pyramid, in particular women and girls, requires more than merely ensuring access to ICTs and broadband networks. We're also happy to see that the awards of the Equals project, where Switzerland has been repeatedly contributing to, is taking place today. These people need training to become digital literate. Digital literacy opens the door to other essential skills needed to operate in a broadband environment, including financial literacy skills. It enables people to set up their own online businesses or to use broadband services such as social networking sites to enhance their social and economic activities. Switzerland is proud to be a traditional strong supporter of the ITU in its mission to promote, facilitate, and foster affordable and universal access to communication networks. And we are actively contributing to the Partner2Connect Coalition. Apart from our broader engagement, we are specifically supporting the GIGA initiative launched by the ITU and UNICEF. GIGA aims at connecting every school worldwide to the internet. We are convinced that GIGA will contribute to achieving equal opportunities for every child through acquiring at least a minimum level of proficiency in sustainable digital skills. Of course, GIGA's approach can and should be leveraged beyond school connectivity. As of today, Switzerland has financed the establishment of the GIGA headquarters here in Geneva, including settling people here, and we provided political support by including GIGA management members in high-level events such as the Building Bridges Week and Village, the Transforming Education Summit, and the Digital Cooperation Day, which was an event to facilitate exchanges between Geneva-based actors and the Office of the Secretary General's Envoy in Technology, as well as private sector roundtables, for instance, in Zurich, to create awareness among tech companies and financial institutions. We also support GIGA to connect other relevant stakeholders working on digital cooperation in Geneva with the aim of creating a global community of purpose to provide connectivity worldwide. We are convinced that with such targeted projects and together with all relevant stakeholders, we can foster broadband adoption and accelerate digital inclusion. In this sense, we hope that many of you will join this common cause. The closer we all work together, the greater our impact for the next generation. So let me conclude by thanking ITU for organizing this Partner2Connect annual meeting. I look forward to exchanging views and sharing experiences which will further advance global digital transformation and inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Ambassador, and thank you very much for those insights and sharing the information on the valuable support that Switzerland is offering. And now we invite His Excellency Mr. Olisi Nkosi, Ambassador, Permanent Representative of South Africa to the United Nations Office at Geneva and other international organizations in Switzerland to give his remarks. Thank you very much, Mr. Nkosi. The floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Max. This time round, you tried to pronounce the click. Of course, you took a shortcut, but better effort than the first time round. Thanks very much, Max, for your introduction, and greetings to Doreen, the SG elect, and congratulations on your brilliant election. Greetings to Max, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure indeed, a great privilege and honor for me to participate in the opening of this annual meeting of Partner2Connect. This meeting provides a platform to assess the implementation of the Partner2Connect pledges and offers us an opportunity to renew the commitment of the international community to the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition. As we all know, this critical ITU program aims to close the digital divide by meaningfully connecting the 2.7 billion unconnected people in the world. This is all the more pertinent, given that this meeting takes place 7 years ahead of the 2030 SDGs target of improving people's lives through digital transformation. Africa remains firmly committed to supporting globally coordinated efforts, such as this one, to promote a people-centered, inclusive, development-oriented information society as were envisaged years ago at the World Summit on the Information Society. New technologies, without any doubt, have been recognized in the UN Agenda 2030 as an important means for implementing the SDGs across economic, social, environmental dimensions, and as critical instruments to address the existing and emerging challenges. According to the ITU Global Connectivity Report 2022, only 33% of the African population is online. This means that more than 950 million Africans are still offline, mostly in rural areas. This is digital exclusion. It's digital apartheid. As Africa, we consider the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition as an important initiative for the implementation of measures to accelerate meaningfully the connection of Africans and other people in the developing world to tackle the many social and economic challenges facing our continent. The Africa Group in the ITU has been a champion of the P2C since its beginning and contributed towards the drafting of the P2C resolution, which was adopted at the World Telecommunications Development Conference held in June in Kigali this year. In line with our call, and also consistent with what Doreen just said a few minutes ago, moving from vision to action, we would like to urge the incoming SG and indeed the Directorate of the ITU Telecommunication Development Bureau to focus on the two following key areas. One, to follow up on the work of the Telecommunication Development Bureau on bridging the digital divide and catalyzing concrete joint efforts to accelerate connectivity and mobilizing resources across the 4 focus areas through the P2C coalition and the multi-stakeholder partnership model it represents. To ensure that the ITU considers to play a central role in this initiative and actively monitors and tracks commitments and engagements and reports over time against the overall objective of achieving universal connectivity, in addition to maintaining an active communication channel amongst strategic stakeholders. Finally, we hope that this occasion will indeed present a platform for all the partners to redouble their efforts to catalyze connectivity, indeed to report progress on their pledges and share experiences to accelerate universal connectivity and sustainable digital transformation. I thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, Mex Olisi Nkosi, give me a week and I'm sure I will get it absolutely right. Permanent representative of South Africa of the United Nations here at Geneva and other international organizations in Switzerland. We're very pleased to have you here with us today. Now, that's the end of this introductory session. I would like you to join me in thanking our speakers, and they will take now a seat in the audience, and I will invite the next moderator, who is Stephen Barreau, and the speakers of the next session to take their seats on the stage. Thank you very much indeed.
Good morning, everyone. Excellencies, distinguished representatives of member states, UN and other international organizations, partners, colleagues. My name is Stephen Barreau. I'm the Deputy to the Director of the Telecommunication Development Bureau of the ITU, and I'm very pleased to see you all and delighted to welcome you to this opening session. We've had a great introduction by our opening speakers, highlighting the important work that is being mobilized through Partner2Connect and setting the stage for the discussions, developments, and reporting that we will have today. I'm particularly excited about the way the P2C brings together such a diverse group of representatives and partners, all committed to the goal of accelerating connectivity, our theme for this opening session of the P2C annual meeting. So now I am honored to reopen the document I had and then to welcome our excellent lineup of panelists for this opening session. So firstly, His Excellency, Mr. Umesh Singh Bhatia, next to me on my left, the Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the Republic of Singapore to the United Nations Office and other international organizations in Geneva. Her Excellency, Mrs. Lotte Knudsen, Ambassador and Permanent Observer of the European Union to the United Nations Office and other international organizations in Geneva. And she will also be on behalf of Her Excellency Jutta Urpilainen, Commissioner for International Partnerships of the European Commission. Ms. Pamela Coke-Hamilton, the Executive Director of the ITC. Mr. Jean-Yves Art, Senior Director, Strategic Partnerships of Microsoft, joining physically on behalf of Brad Smith, President of Microsoft. Mr. Bokar Bar, CEO of the Samina Telecommunications Council in the UAE. Mr. Mats Granrud, Director General of the GSMA. Ms. Millie Ogden, CEO of 3Link. Ms. Sabine Mensah, Deputy CEO of Africanida. And also to welcome virtually Mr. Joaquin Morita, Chief External and Corporate Affairs Officer of Vodafone. Before we go into the discussion, let me again remind you, as Max has done, if you're in the room, you will need to use your earpiece to listen to virtual speakers. So I will ask one question in this session, which I'll direct to each of the speakers. And then if we have time, we will follow up. We'll follow up with some follow-up questions in a speed round because our time is limited. Partner2Connect was created in recognition that the global connectivity mission requires a global coalition that spans the whole breadth of human activity, because the digital society we create will impact everything done everywhere. In this session, we will explore how P2C can accelerate access, adoption, and value creation in the hardest to connect communities through partnerships and new models of collaboration. So my question to each of the speakers is, what will be the biggest areas where collaboration will be required if all countries are to achieve sustainable digital transformation? You'll have up to 3 minutes for your answer. And first, therefore, I'd like to give the floor to His Excellency Umesh Bhatia for the response. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And thank you very much, SG Electorine, for inviting me here today. I just wanted to say that we're actually at a very interesting historical cusp as we consider this key issue of partnership to connect and create and accelerate connectivity. If we go back, we're in the 2020s, if we go back 70 years ago, we were literally talking about landline telephone connectivity. And we go back another 70 years from there, from the 1950s to the 1880s, we were looking at electric telegraph networks. And in these eras, every 70 years, we come at this cusp of saying, how do we sort of realize the gains for these connectivities? How do we make sure that communities in remote areas sort of actually benefit from this for a global good? So this is not something new, and it's just important to have that historical perspective. Now, I think for a small state like Singapore, and this is crucial because small states, whether they're small and developing states, can actually have a force multiplier when we connect. It's actually critical to look at how we do our collaboration if we want to reap the full benefits of digital transformation, Stephen. The digital landscape is vast, and really it's very, very difficult for some of the smaller states amid all these complexities to figure out what equipment do we need to navigate the terrain. Who are the experienced navigators we can reach out to focus on the key areas? For us, of course, sharing of knowledge and expertise, that's a truism, is key to sustainable digital transformation and to make sure we have meaningful universal connectivity. The national capacities for many of the small states are not yet up to scratch to absorb the gains from digital transformation. That's why the P2C and its multi-stakeholder alliance or its partnership-based model is really crucial. It really can sound very cliched and very, very sort of like abstract, but this digital partnership, and I hope, Doreen, that, you know, we have the $6 million man. I hope by the end of today, you'll be the $30 billion woman, that we managed to get all the partnership together. It's absolutely crucial that we work together on this. Now, having said that, Singapore is working on our pledge to boost the ITU's efforts to foster connectivity, and we hope to have that out soon. But we are completely and fully on board to this whole project and to support other countries achieve their digital goals. Let me just say that Singapore is chair of a 108-member informal grouping called the Forum of Small States. And Doreen and the SG-elect Doreen and the Special Envoy on Tech, Amandeep, UN Special Envoy on Tech, have addressed the Forum of Small States a couple of times, and we're looking to get together a digital Forum of Small States very, very soon. I should also mention that for Singapore, very, very crucial, whatever area we look at, we have to share knowledge, we have to share expertise. We cannot be in silos, whether data silos or not cooperating and remain in that, because that's going to basically only set us back. And I think I'll stop there and pass on the floor.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And that was a very good stage setting and very interesting also to hear the small state perspective on how digital transformation can be achieved, which of course is a key part of the remaining mission. Now let me turn quickly to Her Excellency Lotte Knudsen. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, dear Doreen, dear panelists, excellencies and colleagues. I'm very proud and pleased to be here today for the opening of this annual event. The Partnership2Connect is Doreen's brainchild, and I find it's absolutely remarkable what can be achieved within a year. It sets a good example for the way we have to work in the future, and the fact that there are over 550 pledges to the tune of nearly 30 billion, hopefully by the end of the day, is a remarkable sign of what we can do and accomplish when we work together on digital cooperation. So a big thank you to the ITU development sector with you, Doreen, under your leadership for launching this whole movement, which I think can also become a model for future initiatives. In itself, it's a very innovative exercise, and probably today more than ever, we need to think in different ways. With almost 2.7 billion unconnected to the internet or with poor connection, there's still a lot of work to be done for us collectively. That's the whole point, that we will have to work together in partnerships, in new formats, but always in the spirit of open, transparent, and multi-stakeholder methods, which should involve governments, civil society, academia, youth, private sector, in order to tap into this vast potential that we're seeing here today. But connectivity is, of course, not enough in itself. We also need to make sure that it's about a meaningful connectivity, and that means working together in order to provide digital skills, to empower people to use technologies for growth and prosperity, to tackle the current digital divides, including for gender, of course, and to promote a human rights-based approach in order to avoid the harmful impact of technologies and to protect human rights online the way we do offline. And only through this holistic approach can we release the full potential of telecommunications and new and emerging technologies and use them as accelerators for implementing the SDGs. Indeed, there are only 7 years to show some results to achieve the actions that we need before 2030. But these principles I've set out here are also the basis for a new EU initiative called Global Gateway, which is the EU's blueprint for a strategic and smart investment in quality infrastructure with partners around the world. And through Global Gateway, countries will have the opportunity to select investments that are sustainable for local communities, people, and local economies, but without creating any unsustainable debts or unwanted dependencies. Digital cooperation is a big part of Global Gateway, and it's the EU's contribution to narrow the global investment gap to support green and digital transition. So a big congratulations to Doreen and all her colleagues for launching this pledging platform. And with that, I would like to introduce the video message and special greetings from European Commissioner Jytte Urpilainen, who's responsible for international partnerships in the European Commission.
Dear friends, most of us here rely on digital connectivity every day, from attending a virtual meeting to managing our bank accounts. But that is not the case of millions who do not get to benefit from digitalization. Partner2Connect Digital Coalition aims to narrow the digital divide. The EU is proud to be a part of it. We take digital connectivity seriously. It is one of the key pillars of our global infrastructure investment and connectivity strategy, Global Gateway. With Global Gateway, Team Europe is establishing meaningful partnerships around the world. We are working to bring also the private sector on board. Investments both in hard and soft infrastructure will make our partner countries more resilient and autonomous, a key objective in these uncertain times. Dear friends, on digital, we are focusing our efforts on promoting human-centric connectivity and safeguarding digital sovereignty. The digital uptake is the fastest technological revolution in history. But not everyone has benefited equally. Changing that will require joint efforts. The EU shares a long history of successful collaboration with the International Telecommunications Union. I look forward to strengthening cooperation with all the organizations represented here today. I wish you a successful annual meeting.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. And I think, I just wanted to highlight the point you made about the human rights-based approach, the need to protect human rights online the way we do offline. That's been a significant part of ITU's work, I know, and it's a key thing not to forget as we connect the world. And to also acknowledge the Global Gateway Initiative, which adds a lot to the space and can really provide a collaborative space within Partner2Connect and outside. So now I'd like to pass the floor to Ms. Pamela Coke-Hamilton from the ITC. Ms. Hamilton, please have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And thanks again to Doreen for the invitation. And it's always great to be here at ITU. I come from the perspective, of course, of small business and businesses generally, especially in the developing world. And so at ITC, we believe that digital connectivity should be about bringing economic opportunity. The biggest and most impactful area of collaboration is value creation from connectivity. At the end of the day, what does connectivity do for people? How does it help? And how does it facilitate increased economic growth, development, and empowerment? So we focus our efforts on the last mile. We support entrepreneurs in connectivity for launching and expanding their ability to trade. One of the things that COVID showed us so clearly, more than anything else, is that we had to transform how we helped our partners in terms of their entrepreneurship and their access to markets. So we utilized market analysis tools. They were able to access this through the 2 years of COVID. And we found that millions of users were able to facilitate their trade and increase their ability to access markets through these methodologies. So we work in 124 countries. We've helped thousands, tens of thousands of MSMEs through this process. And our SME Trade Academy has been able to utilize this as a methodology for basically expanding our reach across the world. So we recognize that there's significant potential, and we believe that this is an important part of our Switch On program and its related pledge on the Partner2Connect. And we want to ensure that we help dozens of priority countries and scores of institutions adopt this policy, which address the MSME connectivity gap. We recognize that we need to work with partners. That is going to be very important. But the question is that, what are the biggest areas where collaboration will be required if all countries are to achieve sustainable digital transformation? And for me, I'm going off script again, but for me, the clear issue is, one, what is it we want? And the ambassador of South Africa referred to what he called digital apartheid and the absence of connectivity. If we're going to help, especially developing countries, whether it's in Africa or in my part of the world, actually achieve long-term sustainable development, then everybody has to be connected. Because at the end of the day, we cannot talk about development and economic transformation if one of the fundamental pillars and levers are not available to those who need it. And so we have to, first of all, have that ambition. Ambition is the first thing. So Doreen has ambition. She launched this a year ago, 30 billion. Let's see how we get it. The second thing is intent. If we don't have intent, that's another missing link. A lot of times we have ambition, but the ambition is to say we collected the money. The intent is what we do with the money. And so the intent is going to be important to literally facilitate that money reaching the ones who need it and enabling them to actually benefit from this process. And then the final thing after intent is a specific plan. A lot of times we have what we call the implementation deficit, and it's true of every arena, whether it's trade, telecommunications, you name it. We make great plans, we have great ambition, we show great intent, but at the end of the day, we don't implement it. And if it's not implemented, then it remains a nice piece of paper that we can talk about 10 years from now. And so for me, we have to have a specific plan to work with private sector. I see Microsoft is here and others who are our partners. We've worked with DHL, we've worked with eBay, we've worked with Amazon, we've worked with so many partners across the board in the private sector to actually translate this into actual access. If there's no actual access, then we're just writing on pieces of paper. So let me stop there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Coke-Hamilton. I think I just want to highlight, it's interesting as we look, we talk about need to get things to the user. We talk about connecting those who are unconnected. But I think the recognition that, much of our connectivity has happened because there's value creation, because we've created an environment, an ability for people to, for want of a better phrase, make money. So with that, let me turn over now to Bokar Ba, from Samina Council. Bokar, please.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And it's okay. You have to deduct from my speaking time.
Wait.
Colleagues, I'm very glad to be here today, and because I have 3 minutes, I'll go straight to the point. Sustainable digital transformation is a must-have, and not only a must-have, it's a necessity. Given the context that has been given by the previous speakers, excellencies, it's a necessity. Necessity because we have committed to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. And to do that, we need to fulfill all requirements. And for the conversation today, I have selected 4 of the requirements. And among those requirements, number 1, P2C is an instrument, and that is based on strong global partnership. And this is the best example. That's the first one. The second one, cooperation. We talk a lot about cooperation, but cooperation should be based on several principles. The first one, I would say, inclusiveness. The second one, responsibility and accountability. Third one, and I'm very pleased to hear Pamela talking about value creation. And the last one is sustainability. These are the four, I believe, principles on which, when we talk about cooperation, we have to embrace those principles. The third element in terms of requirement is incentives. 193 member states, we all have national plans, and from a private sector perspective, I believe that the private sector has to be incentivized, and reciprocity should apply in terms of shared objective. And the last one is investment. And when we talk about investment, I'm talking about investment, financing, and funding. And for that, I would like to refer to the wonderful work that has been done by the Broadband Commission by providing to member state, to private sector, to academia, some recommendation with regard to unlocking access to capital. So based on this context, to address the question from Stephen, from a private sector perspective, two fundamental issues should be addressed if we want to achieve our objective. Number one is we need to get the money. We have to unlock access to capital. I've heard this morning several times the new challenge of Doreen, $30 billion. We must have access to the capital. So back again to the recommendation that has been issued by my colleagues, commissioners. Number two, ensure efficiencies. And I believe as we go, wherever you look at the 17 SDGs, we talk about greening our technologies. So we have to ensure efficiencies on the way we develop our technology. We have to be environmental friendly. And I believe with this combination of two pillars, we would not be very far from fulfilling the requirement to achieve those 17 SDGs. I see that I have exhausted my time, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the almost perfect timing. And I just wanted to highlight, what is good about this panel is we're now shifting more to a private sector perspective with you, Bukar, in the middle, and Mats, who will speak next, representing multiple private sector partners. So with that, Mats, let me pass the floor to you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Stephen, and thank you, Doreen, for your leadership in this fantastic gathering. I think I will start with a story. Are you familiar with 14E? 14E, anyone? No? Well, 14E is a nurse, and she lives in a rural village in Uganda. And she are treating patients that are coming to her little house. The bad thing, though, is that she can only do this during daytime when there is light out. A couple of years ago, she heard about this mobile-enabled solar power thing. So she investigated. She bought one of those things. It's a solar panel on the roof, a little box, and some lights and a charger for her phone. Now she is able to treat patients day or night, whenever they come, because she has ample amount of light. She also has a charger for her mobile phone. So that's a good story. I hope you understand the concept. Now, why do I tell you that story? Well, it is back to Pamela about micro and small medium enterprises. It is all around finding partnerships to deliver that mobile enabled solar power. It takes several companies, small or medium sized companies. It takes a mobile operator, it takes a solar panel manufacturer, and it takes some sort of mobile money or some sort of financial institution. So three people are actually coming together in a partnership to deliver one thing that is very useful for 14E. Now, she can make money, she can help society, her community, become healthier and more productive. We all know that, so it's a good story around that. Partnership drives growth. We know that every 10% of mobile broadband penetration gives sort of an uplift of 1.5% of GDP uplift. And it all comes from that. It all comes from us working together, making sure that people actually can earn money. Now, 14E is also unique because she's using mobile internet. And as many previously have said here, Today, 55% of the world's population are using mobile internet. 40% are not. So 40% or 45% are actually excluded from this future economy. And back to Bukhar's 17 SDGs ambition, that is not okay. They need to be included as well. So more partnership, more driving smart, innovative solutions for the micro, small and medium enterprises. And I'm really happy that Pamela, you and I were co-chairing at the Broadband Commissioner Working Group around this, how to drive future growth and inclusion in that. So Stephen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mats. And I think again, to the highlight of why partnership and the fact that dividing effort is how we increase industry and work. And really that's what partnerships are about. We need more people to do more, and it multiplies our efforts. With that now, let me move to the next speaker, also private sector, Millie Ogden, who is the CEO of Freelink. Millie, please.
Greetings. I bring to you, I'm Millie Ogden. I bring to you perspectives from the South Pacific. I'm from Vanuatu, and connecting Vanuatu and many South Pacific islands, we face very similar common problems because our population are quite sparse and our terrain are harsh because we are not only at the forefront of climate change with many destructive elements such as Category 5 cyclones coming our way annually, but we also have water in our way of proliferating digital development. From my perspective, country leaders need to take the narrative of fostering technological advancement. Do be liberal with your technological uptake yourself at the country level. Have regulations that don't favor one connectivity technology over another. And that is, of course, a comment on the monopolistic behavior that happens in a particular country, because conditions are harsh and we do need to give an advantage to a particular technology to exist for a period of time. But the innovative technology that are providing connectivity, that also needs to be encouraged because, you know, when you need to foster technological advancement, you need to also allow for failure. So many Commonwealth countries are investigating in how to leapfrog with the existing connectivity technology. I would recommend to buy them all. Technology is affordable and versatile in today's time. You cannot make a mistake with technological investments. The opportunity cost of waiting is quite high for a future generation to have to make up. It is good business as well to have the narrative of technological advancement as it attracts investments and further innovation. The second recommendation is electrification. The importance of having power to allow for connectivity is not to be undermined. And a lot of us don't understand that challenge unless we are from that particular area. And on the other side of the pendulum, when we are talking about struggles or challenges from the grassroots, invest in your youth, invest especially in your young women in the rural communities. Perhaps even provide her with an expensive asset. Give her a meaningful device, maybe a laptop, and subsidize her broadband data. Give her the ability to access video because possibly her family might not have the literacy to even be able to read and write. So she might be the first in her generation to do so. I would also say make it a norm to see her as the CTO of your enterprise and see her as the Minister of Technology in your country. In my conclusion, I would say thank you very much for the opportunity to tell you the challenges from where we're at. because we do have responsibility to invest in the human resource of our ocean continent, which is all the people living in the South Pacific Islands. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Millie. And I think the sense of urgency from your contribution just now was very welcome. And I think also for my own part, just wanting to note that I think there are 4 small island representatives on this, which is a very good representation from the countries in that category. So with that, and also, sorry, just want to highlight the youth and women comments, because I think that aspect, the importance of bringing vulnerable groups and encouraging and engaging should be highlighted. So with that, let me now pass the floor to Jean-Yves Art from Microsoft, who will also introduce Brad Smith. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here with all of you. And Microsoft, I should say, is very proud to be a member of this P2C initiative and to participate in this joint effort to expand meaningful connectivity. P2C, Partner2Connect, is very much aligned with our company's mission, which, as you may know, is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. P2C is very much aligned with that mission. We see connectivity as being crucial to achieve digital transformation and the economic growth that comes with digital transformation through, for instance, financial inclusion, distance education, telemedicine, precision agriculture, to name just a few, but also much more broadly, I think, to achieve something which has already been pointed out today, to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by the end of 2030. With the hundreds of pledges that have been given to this initiative, valued at more than 29 billion. And just to tell you, when I came here, I had put down in my notes 28 billion, was super happy to hear Doreen say we are at over 29. And I'm convinced, not hopeful, but convinced that we will reach 30 by the end of today. I'm convinced of that. So with the mobilization of hundreds of pledges valued at this really significant number, P2C has shown its immense value to achieve digital inclusion, to achieve meaningful inclusion. And it's time now, as Doreen said, to turn to the implementation of those pledges and contribute to universal access to affordable internet, with affordable devices and the skills which are necessary to use those devices and access to the internet in a positive way for society. I think that no one at Microsoft is better placed than Brad Smith, Microsoft President and Vice Chair, to explain why we consider that P2C and the joint commitment of P2C is crucial to deliver the promises of digital transformation. Therefore, please allow me to let Brad Smith share his vision, share our vision. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brad Smith, the Vice Chair and President of Microsoft. I just want to take a minute to thank you for coming together and underscore the importance of this work. In our view, the right to be connected to the internet, really at broadband speeds, is now something that we should consider to be a fundamental right that needs to be available, that needs to be protected and promoted for everyone on this planet. It's the prerequisite, if you will, for the ability of people to learn new things, to advance new skills, to build a business, to support a nonprofit, to communicate, to collaborate, to participate in their community. That's what you all have been advancing. That's what I get to advance as an SDG advocate. It connects to every one of the Sustainable Development Goals. And in my view, more than ever, this partnership is instrumental for helping the world go from more than 500 pledges to progress, to implementation, to movement. Movement not just in these pledges, but for everything the world needs to advance together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jean-Yves and Brad Smith. Highlighting there the broad versatility and applicability of digital transformation, and Brad's comment on the right to be connected and pledges to progress, which is a term I like a lot. Just before I move on, just happy to hear, Jean-Yves, that you found an extra billion this morning. I'm kind of hoping when I log into my bank account, I'll discover that sort of change as well. With that, now let me move on to Sabine Mensah. Sabine, please.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me. It really is an honor to be here representing Africa and digital connectivity is a gateway to empowerment through inclusion, financial, social, economic. By 2030, if we're able to enable universal access to financial services, we will enable 350 million adult African currently excluded from these services to create more opportunities for themselves and their families, to be able to send and receive money quickly and safely, to be able to sell and buy goods, to be able to have access to services such as credit, remunerated savings, investment. Instant and inclusive payment systems are the connecting tissue to broader financial inclusion for all. In Africa, you have about 29 of instant payment systems, 26 domestic and 3 regional, which have come live into the ecosystem in the past decade. And through these systems, about nearly $1 trillion has been processed through 16 billion transactions. So while those numbers might sound very encouraging, there's still a lot to be done for these instant payment systems to really truly reach the unbanked, the underserved, the financially excluded. They need to become more inclusive. And collaboration is the sesame to more inclusivity into these instant payment system. Collaboration on the supply side with digital connectivity enabled, with digital payment rails that are available to all. Collaboration on the policy side with leveling the playing field for all licensed financial service providers to have access and equal input into these payment systems. Collaboration with regulators to really promote interoperability, to bring a proper mandate in the ecosystem so that we can enable a more conducive policy environment, and we can also promote affordability of these payment systems to reach the most vulnerable and underserved. And for that collaboration to happen, platforms such as the P2C are really golden, I would say. It gives us the opportunity to all come in together, share lessons, and see how we can collectively promote these rails for inclusion for all. And from that perspective, we've had the opportunity to collaborate with the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa and the World Bank to put out a report on the state of instant and inclusive payment systems in Africa. This report helped us understand where we're starting from, where there are some gaps, and what we could do potentially to all work together and make these systems more inclusive. And I hope that through this forum here, we'll be able to rally more supporters on our goals to really enable universal access to financial services in Africa. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Sabine. And I think the importance of digital financial services in growing economies, where you have a significant amount of unbanked, is a great application of digital technologies, and one that we often underestimate in its scope. So our final speaker on the panel is one of our first very founding members, Vodafone, whose backdrop I'm just loving because I see your energy. It's been giving me energy all throughout this panel. So Joaquin, please, right now.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. And first, Stephen, let me say it's a great pleasure to be here. I also want to congratulate immensely for the efforts of the ITU, Doreen, and all our team and the Partner2Connect, which is something we feel very, very strongly about. A lot of that been said, but I think just to make a few highlights, and then I would like to deep dive on one particular issue. As you know, Vodafone is one of the largest mobile operators around the planet. We are particularly present in Africa and Europe. We carry 20% of the world's internet traffic on our network, and we're truly committed to try to connect the unconnected. Now, that's not only because it's an opportunity, which Pamela formulated that very well, it's also because we are convinced that digital is becoming a new dividing line within our societies and between nations. It will be the line in the sand between the have and the have-nots in the future. And that's not a situation that any of us should accept. So there is an urgency and a challenge that all of us have to step up to. Now, in Africa, we're making good progress under collaborating measures. We have reached 80% of network coverage with mobile broadband networks. But the issue that I would like to highlight here is the direct relationship between the ability to tackle digital poverty with the ability to tackle energy poverty. We have to understand that the just climate transition that we need to strive for the world's poor goes hand in hand with the digital equality ambition that all of us should have. And Pamela was very good to talk about the implementation deficit. So let me highlight how we're trying to tackle that. First, 600 million people in Africa, 43% of the population lack access to electricity. And of course, without access to energy, there will be no connectivity. So we are working very, very hard to make sure that Africa closes its huge gaps in renewable energy. And that's part of Vodafone's objective of making sure that by 2025, all of our operations, no matter where we are on the planet, will be fueled by renewable energy. In Africa, we have now connected 1 million households according to the plan that Mats laid out, how you combine mobile payment with IoT connectivity and solar panels to allow individual households to connect up to the network, as well as getting access to energy. There's much more we can do because you have to think about connectivity as a distributed factory of thousands of sites across a jurisdiction. So telecom companies provides an enormous lever for people to reimagine the grid system to ensure that there will be a benefit of increasing electrification and coverage, relieving pressure from the grid and facilitating decarbonization at the same time. And we're very happy about the partnership we have recently signed with Eskom in South Africa to draw on the benefits of independent renewable power generations and to propel us to 100% renewable power by 2025. So we need to come together. We need to think more synergetically across industries. It's not about mobile and energy being separate. There are synergies between them. And the more we can do that in a manner that unlocks investment and unlocks the ability to make transformation, the more important it is. And Vodafone is truly committed to that objective. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joachim. And I think that presentation, your comments just sort of brought us to a very rounded close to the session, our first session this morning, about ensuring that our digital divide does not become a social divide, and highlighting the connection between digital poverty and energy poverty, and bringing in the importance of climate change considerations as we work to do that. So with that, I'd like to thank all of our panelists, noting that many of you have made pledges which are very interesting and align very well with the discussion we've had this morning. So encourage others to sort of look at those pledges and see how we can continue to add to this valuable space. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to participants. Thank you to listeners.
Sorry, before you finish, I just want to say how absolutely impressed I am that he pulled this off in 45 minutes with 12 speakers. I just want to say he deserves a round of applause. This is incredible. I'll use you for all my future ones.
Thank you very much. I talk faster as I go. Yeah. Anyway, thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much indeed. In fact, you took the words out of my mouth there. So wonderful. So I'd now like to welcome, I invite on stage the next moderator for the next panel session, who is Alex Wong, the Chief Special Initiatives at Telecommunication Development Bureau, ITU. Ms. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, Director of the ITU Telecommunication Development Bureau and Secretary General-elect, and Mr. Michael Wilms, Partner and Director of the Boston Consulting Group, BCG, also a Partner2Connect Knowledge Partner. We're going to do this next session in two parts, so those are the people we need on the stage right now. And thank you very much for bearing with us for the moment. Thank you. And our next session will continue very shortly. Thank you very much indeed.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Wong. This sounds like a boring session reporting, but I guarantee you this will be also one of the most exciting sessions of the program. As many of you know from our mandate that was given to us at the WTDC, membership has asked us to make sure we monitor and track the implementation of the pledges. And for those of you that made pledges, if you read the fine print, it said that you had to report on your progress. So we're really pleased to launch this very important session to report back to you on the implementation. And we're going to have the session in two parts. First, we're going to share the results of the survey that many of you filled in and the status of the P2C implementation. And then after that, we have a second part where we have a great panel of our pledgers who are going to come up and give a very quick update on their pledge implementation. So without further delay, let me first cover the first part to give you the report back. And with that, I have the pleasure to pass the floor to my colleague, Doreen Bogdan-Martin, Director of the ITU and Secretary General-elect.
Thank you, Alex, and greetings again. So the Executive Director of ITC, I think somewhat challenged us, Alex, in the previous session. She highlighted 3 points: ambition, and I think you can see by our program today, we are ambitious. And she then noted, of course, intent and implementation. I think you'll see those aspects come across clearly in this session. So in October, just a couple of weeks ago, we launched the Partner2Connect self-reporting process. That process was intended to reflect and support the principles of accountability, of transparency, of course, of partnership. That's what this is all about, and action-oriented leadership of this coalition, and also to ensure that we were delivering on the expectations of the resolution at the World Conference on Telecommunications Development. So to prepare for this P2C first annual gathering, the Secretariat, we launched in October, and then we encouraged all pledgers to report by the 18th of November. The staff sort of worked around the clock, calling, emailing, texting all of you to get you to report. And as of the 18th of November, we had 552 pledges from 263 agencies, entities, as I mentioned this morning, and 202 pledges have been reported by 99 entities. So that means that 37% of the total commitments have been reported so far by 38% of all P2C pledgers. I think that's an impressive response rate, given that this reporting process took place just during a 1 month, so in a 4-week period. And I think that's quite impressive. The preliminary data also indicates that approximately 3.3 billion has already been spent out of the 29.7 billion towards the implementation of the 202 pledges that have been reported on thus far. Our data also shows us that 10% of the reported the reports are actually committed or completed, rather. So I think that puts us in a good space, and we look forward to seeing many more. I think we can move to the next slide, and I'm going to hand to my colleague and our partner, Michael from BCG. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Doreen, and Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, a big thank you for all of you who pledged, but also who reported. Obviously, it's essential that we get those reports back to ensure that we can follow the progress and also help you in implementing your pledge. So what I wanted to do today is, first of all, give a little bit more detail of what came out of the reporting process, but then also what you all indicated on how we can help each other actually accelerate the implementation of the pledges. So while about 30% reported, close to 40 even, I think we can say next year we'd like this to be substantially higher, but also it's sufficient enough to give us a pretty good idea of what's going on. So what we see here is that, as Doreen mentioned, already 10% of pledges is actually completed. And if we zoom a bit in on are these pledges, how are the pledges that were planned to be completed this year, are they actually completed? That number is substantially higher as well. Already 3/4 is in progress, which is massive. And obviously there could be a bit of self-selection in who reported and who did not, but still we're very happy to see this amount of progress. And I think both Pamela and also Brad will be quite content when they see this, given the challenges that are raised around implementation. Obviously, there's still a lot to be done. And we see that 30% are still in planning phase. Only a couple are not started yet. And given the horizon, I think that's okay. Now, let me move to the next slide, which highlights some of the key challenges that we also see. I think across the board, everybody has been similarly reporting back on their pledges. And we do see that while government represents the highest absolute number of pledges, the percentage is actually very similar across the board. Now, if we look at one of the key questions, which was highlighted as well, is what do you need to really further support the implementation of your pledges? And I think the vast majority highlighted more collaboration in the countries, more collaboration around finding funding, more collaboration around knowledge sharing. And I think that's actually the intent of the coalition all along and the way you started it last year, Doreen. And I think the other thing that's important to note, and we'll go a little bit further in the next session as well, is to facilitate this collaboration, not only at the global level, which we're here today, but also at the country level and the regional level. We're starting a process with partner countries, and a little bit later, we're going to have Cambodia, who's featured as one of the key partner countries to start up and sort of highlight the process that we're planning to run through in 23 to help all of you actually get the implementation done on the ground. Thank you. Back to you, Doreen.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. So just a brief, perhaps explanation of the P2C self-reporting form. And I wanted here to pick up on something Bokar said in the previous session, which was that we must ensure that we fulfill all requirements to achieve the SDGs. And so with that in mind, we want to ensure that the pledges actually are linked to the targets of the coalition. And those targets include universal meaningful connectivity targets that we have for the ITU by 2030. They also reflect the Broadband Commission advocacy targets that we hope to achieve by 2025, the ITU strategic targets and our results framework. I think the good news is that 87% of the reported pledges supported at least one of the coalition's targets. And I think that's an encouraging finding. I also wanted to share where the pledges are actually being implemented in terms of the specific areas. So based on our analysis, the top 5, I would say, most popular targets are digital skills. And of course, we heard the importance of digital skills from the previous panel. The access piece, and Mats, you referred to the coverage out there, but we need to make sure that we're getting the access there, and that's specific also to access for women and girls. The other piece is the use piece. So sometimes we have the signal, but people are not accessing. So that's where we're happy to see efforts dedicated to the usage piece. Also linked to that is broadband internet usage penetration, user penetration. And then perhaps not a surprise, we're seeing much happen in the space of cybersecurity, preparedness, and also resilience, network resilience, an important space for us to be focusing on. I think we can go quickly to the next slide. So with that short introduction, pleased to share with you the full report. It's a web-based report. You can check out the details online. I would invite you to check from time to time the interactive dashboard. So we'll continue the reporting process throughout the year. So check in and see how others are doing. And of course, there's also opportunities to contribute new pledges. And I think that that this update and this report, as you will see, clearly demonstrates Pamela's third challenge, which is implementation. So the implementation is happening. As Michael said, we want to see much more between now and next year, but it is indeed happening. Of course, the full scope of progress will only be known once all pledgers give their reports. So we're also pushing that to hear from those that have not yet reported. But with that, I'm going to turn back to you, Alex, and we're going to hear directly from some of the pledgers that have already started implementing. Over to you, Alex.
All right, thank you, everyone. So those report and the dashboard have been launched today, so that's why it's so exciting. So let me now invite the speakers for the second part of the session who are going to give a report back on the pledge status. So please come up to the stage. Okay, so for this part of the program, we have the honor of several of our pledgers who are going to give. So Pamela thought 3 minutes was good. This is 2 minutes per speaker to share very briefly an update on their pledge and also reflect on maybe some of the challenges they may have faced and how PTC can help. So it's a lot to cover in 2 minutes, but we're going to do our best. And I do ask the speakers to please respect the time. There'll be a timer on the screen as much as possible. So let me then begin with our first speaker who will be virtual. And it's my honor to introduce again, Her Excellency Paula Ingabire, the Minister of Information Communication Technology and Innovation in Rwanda. And of course, it was in Rwanda where we held the PTC roundtable under the patronage of Your Excellency. So very pleased to have you go first, Minister Paula, over to you.
Thank you very much, Alex. Good afternoon, colleagues. Doreen, thank you very much for the invitation to be part of this reporting session for the P2C coalition. I will be speaking very briefly about some of the pledges that we've made as the Broadband Commission, which made an advocacy pledge to the ITU Partner2Connect Digital Coalition this June. And this was really targeted to help reach inclusive, universal and secure connectivity through various policy recommendations. I think, Doreen, in your presentation just now, you talked about the different focus areas for these pledges, which is really around addressing broadband policy, access, affordability, usage, digital skills. And really, this is where a lot of the advocacy actions that the Broadband Commission has put in place are also focused in terms of realizing the 2025 Broadband Commission advisory targets. So the Commission was able to leverage the strength of its members, and with more than 50 high-level commissioners involved and a community of 200 plus stakeholders engaged, were able to put together the collective expertise to advocate for meaningful, secure, safe and sustainable broadband broadband communication services. Specifically this year, to advance the commitments of the Broadband Commission and to provide a concrete framework for action, the Commission has issued about 11 collaborative publications in line with the broadband targets of 2025. And these are focused on the most pertinent issues affecting broadband access, affordability, and use. So these publications include an annual State of the Broadband report, 4 working groups, and also interim reports that are coming out of the work of the working groups, as well as 3 open statements to the UN processes and events, and finally, 1 SDG for research compilation. So the Commission's multi-stakeholder working groups laid out a clear, actionable policy recommendations, which include, and these are 4 of them, there's a future of virtual health and care, there's strategies towards universal smartphone access. The 3rd one is around artificial intelligence and digital transformation competencies for civil servants. And finally, the transformative potential of data learning. And so through these advocacy efforts, we intend to, bring the goal of meaningful universal connectivity to the forefront of policy discussions that are made through facilitating impactful public-private partnerships, thought leadership, as well as outreach. And so to continue this work and the progress on the Commission's advocacy pledge and to advance the 2025 advocacy targets, there are new focus areas of research set on connectivity for MSMEs and on data for learning and the creation of 2 action task forces on smartphone financing and refurbished devices. And so this work altogether aligns directly with the Commission's pledge to advocate for meaningful universal connectivity, but also to develop recommendations for the new regulation and new regulations required and policy changes, and finally, the support of multi-stakeholder discussions and collaboration. So we look forward to working with all the partners that have pledged to this coalition in really ensuring that this meaningful access can be afforded to everyone, everywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Paula. And of course, thank you to yourself and President Kagame, who's also a co-chair of the Broadband Commission. And that was longer than 2 minutes, but there's a lot to summarize in the Broadband Commission. So we give you that extra minute on that. So over to our panel on site here to my left. First, I have the honor to call on Your Excellency Amanda Gorley, who's the permanent representative of the Australia mission to the UN office and other international organizations in Geneva.
Well, thank you very much and greetings, colleagues. Well, I'm pleased to say that Australia has submitted 28 pledges and they amount to an investment of $9.3 million US. And our focus is really on achieving tangible outcomes in the hardest to connect communities in the Asia Pacific region. Our pledges range from bolstering the meaningful participation of women and girls in the telecommunications and ICT sector, and developing sustainable infrastructure and cyber resilience, and also fellowships to support delegates to participate in ITU meetings. So a snapshot of some of the work that we are doing to implement our pledges. We're working with Papua New Guinea to reinforce cyber resilience by helping to establish a cybersecurity operations centre and delivering technical training and mentoring in incident response. And so far, over 400 professionals have been trained. We're also assisting implementation of cyber drills in Bhutan and India and providing computer incident response team assistance in Kiribati. We've been supporting online participation of young people in the Pacific and very much heard the words of Millie Ogden in her presentation. We've been working with Tonga and Vanuatu to produce publications which upskill young women and enable young people and caregivers in the Solomon Islands to identify risks and apply strategies for responsible and safe internet use. We are also, as part of the ITU's Connect to Recover initiative, funding projects to identify gaps in ICT and connectivity in Bhutan, Laos and Nepal and the Philippines to help develop their national digital transformation plans. Just in closing, I would like to acknowledge the very strong support we've had from the ITU Regional Office for the Asia and the Pacific and our industry partners in the region. Thanks.
Excellent. 28 pledges in 2 minutes. Fantastic. Okay. Next, and to my next left, I have the honor to introduce Your Excellency, Madame Bethesda Nell Crocker, who's the Ambassador and Permanent Rep of the United States to the UN and other international organizations in Geneva.
Thank you. And good morning, everyone. I am pleased to be here to update you on the United States commitment to Partner2Connect. And following our announcement in May of the Digital Invest program, we have expanded our partnership with Microsoft Airband to establish an incentive fund for internet service providers providing digital access to community institutions such as health clinics, schools, and local government facilities in emerging markets. This $5 million commitment, collaboration rather, will bring improved internet access and digital services to women. In addition to this exciting collaboration, we have numerous other pledges that I will report on quickly. The U.S. Secretary of Commerce pledged support for the ITU development sector's efforts to improve broadband deployment in developing countries, and experts from our National Telecommunications and Information Administration are studying the most effective ways to do this, while enhancing digital literacy of underserved populations. Additionally, the Federal Communications Commission increased opportunities through its International Visitors Program in Washington, D.C., that now reaches nearly 300 visitors from over 50 countries, with expanded access, information sharing, and networking with regulatory counterparts from around the world. The United States is also building digital ecosystems by collaborating with the Digital Impact Alliance to create a charter for digital public goods to develop and publish a declaration of principles for open source technology products that support human rights. And finally, the United States has invested $5.1 million in Youth Mappers, a global community of students and academics that use geospatial technologies to support development. This program partners with the ITU's and UNICEF's GIGA initiatives to help verify and map schools and their connectivity levels, creating a real-time display of access and needs. The United States is pleased to continue to advance a meaningful and exclusive digital transformation globally, and we commend you on the success of the P2C initiative so far.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. So to your left, we have the next speaker, who is His Excellency Mr. Zbigniew Czech, the Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the Republic of Poland to the United Nations in Geneva.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Dear colleagues, dear Secretary General-elect, dear Doreen, on behalf of Poland, I'm happy to provide you with the follow-up on Poland's pledge on countermeasures to the Russian Federation's aggression against Ukraine, that focuses on rebuilding Ukrainian telecommunication sector and countering Russian propaganda. First of all, I am pleased to confirm that the value of Polish contribution has increased from initial $1.4 million in June 2022 to $20.7 million as reported in October 2022. Our pledge is focused on providing civilian connectivity and strengthening cybersecurity of Ukrainian citizens. With these funds, we have successfully provided telecommunication services to large parts of the Ukrainian society. Our aid includes rollout of satellite terminals, radio stations, IT equipment, and user devices, and the constant provision of necessary services itself. Moreover, we have launched several campaigns encouraging non-governmental organizations, private sector, and citizens to donate to Ukraine, particularly Starlink units. As for today, the total number of Starlink terminals provided to Ukraine by Polish government and other Polish donors has exceeded 13,500 units. The Polish government is currently the largest single paying customer of Starlink terminals, enabling the use of internet in Ukraine. In August, we signed a memorandum of understanding with Ukraine on strengthening mutual cooperation regarding cybersecurity. The MOU provides a framework for exchanging the best practices regarding new and emerging technologies and most effective ways to respond to cyber attacks. The damage that Ukraine's infrastructure has suffered since the start of war shows clearly the importance of the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition, which helps to rebuild the critical infrastructure of this country. This is why I would like to thank once again Secretary General-elect Ms. Doreen Martin-Bogdan for her outstanding leadership in this initiative. We will provide you with the next update on our engagement in January 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we're going to move virtually to Mr. Nelson Arroyo, who's the president of Indotel, which is the National Regulatory Authority of the Dominican Republic. Mr. Arroyo will be speaking in Spanish, but we have already, I think, captioned in English, and I'm told the audio may be in English, but I'm not sure. Maybe not. Okay, anyhow, for those of you that understand Spanish, enjoy. Otherwise, try to read the caption. Thank you, Mr. Arroyo. Over to you, please.
Thank you. Buenos días a todos y todas. Es un placer participar en este evento de Partner2Connect. Quiero compartir la misión de esta coalición de fomentar una conectividad efectiva y lograr una transformación digital a nivel mundial. Me llena de orgullo el poder contarles de los avances que ha dado el gobierno de la República Dominicana a través del Indotel en los 4 compromisos que nos trazamos como nación. El primer componente, o nuestro primer compromiso, se basa en la mejora de la conectividad para la transformación digital de nuestro país, a través de la cual buscamos conectar a los no conectados. Dicho proyecto consta de varios componentes. Primero, buscamos aumentar los niveles de conectividad de banda ancha asequible y de calidad a través del despliegue de la infraestructura digital en los municipios del país con menores niveles de penetración. Segundo, mejorar los niveles de habilidades digitales en la población a través de programas de capacitación dirigidos a dominicanos y dominicanas de bajos recursos. Actualmente, el Indotel se encuentra elaborando los pliegos para lanzar el proceso de licitación para que el sector privado lleve el servicio de Internet de banda ancha asequible y de calidad a 23 municipios y 63 distritos municipales en la zona sur de la República Dominicana. Mientras que para el componente habilidades digitales, también nos encontramos elaborando los pliegos para lanzar el proceso de contratación de una empresa que lleve a cabo las capacitaciones. Nuestra meta es lograr las 180,000 personas capacitadas en un periodo de 4 años. Nuestro segundo compromiso fue el de la implementación de las redes móviles de quinta generación en el país, para lo cual en febrero del 2021 lanzamos la licitación internacional para adjudicación del espectro y la implementación de dicha tecnología. Y en diciembre del mismo año ya el país contaba con el servicio de redes móviles 5G. Como obligación de licitación, dichos servicios ya están disponibles en los 11 municipios de mayor población y se espera mayor cobertura para esta red en los próximos meses. Con esto, la República Dominicana se convirtió en el segundo país de Latinoamérica en contar con 5G. Nuestro tercer compromiso es el desarrollo de un sandbox regulatorio, el cual estamos llevando a cabo en conjunto con la Unión Internacional de las Telecomunicaciones, UIT, con el que buscamos la mejora regulatoria, identificar mejores prácticas e impulsar la innovación que permitan dinamizar al sector. Mediante la resolución 81-2022 del 22 de agosto, el Indotel puso en consulta pública la propuesta para establecer las condiciones de aplicación del mecanismo para innovaciones y pruebas regulatorias, sandbox regulatorio. El cuarto proyecto con el que nos comprometimos fue el desarrollo de una canasta digital social que tiene como enfoque el empoderamiento de comunidades. El Indotel está realizando este proyecto con los fondos para el desarrollo de las telecomunicaciones FDT. Así que, en resumen, nuestro compromiso es conectar a todos en la República Dominicana. Así que muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Arroyo. And you get the extra minute too, because you woke up at 4 a.m. because you're calling from Santo Domingo. And myself and a few of my colleagues look forward to visiting you next week. We're actually bringing the P2C platform down to Dominican Republic as one of our P2C partner countries to help facilitate collaboration. So we look very much forward to seeing you in person. Okay, so next to in line for our speakers, our distinguished speakers, I have the pleasure to introduce Mr. Amir Bajwa, who's the chairman of the Pakistan Telecommunication Authority, who's here with us as well. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Alex. Secretary General-elect Doreen, distinguished delegates, let me congratulate ITU for bringing us all together at this landmark occasion, and special compliments to Doreen and her team at ITU for this landmark initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, Digital Pakistan Vision is the embodiment of our national aspirations to become a digital nation that drives the policy and regulatory environment in our country. We have a vibrant, competitive, and dynamic ICT sector with more than 195 million mobile and 124 million broadband users. We have made 4 pledges towards advancing the commitment of digital inclusion. First, I would like to present our landmark project of device identification, registration, and blocking system. Affordable smartphones provision is at the heart of this project. I'm happy to report this project has been a landmark success. We have brought down our imports to a substantial level and locally assembling about 75% of our devices, which helps in providing affordable smartphones to the population. In this year alone, till October 22, we have been able to provide about 18.14 million devices, smartphone devices. The second aspect is with respect to gender inclusion in ICTs. We are working in collaboration with UNESCO to devising a strategy for reducing our gender gap, which currently stands at 33%. We are conducting consultation workshops with all stakeholders, and we aim to come up with a robust strategy with targets sometimes in first quarter of next year. The third is with respect to digital financial inclusion. We have played a pivotal role in implementation of ASAN or Easy Mobile Account scheme that aims to provide 10 million banking accounts by end of current fiscal year. The important thing is, you don't need a smartphone to open a Easy or ASAN mobile account. You can do it with a feature phone also by using USSD. It's a revolutionary initiative where citizens and especially female population can have access to a mobile account. We've crossed 5.7 million accounts figure, since the launch of this in August 22. The fourth is with respect to our regulatory initiative of becoming a leading regulator, and on ITU regulatory tracker. We are currently at the advanced stage of G5 regulator. We aim to achieve G5 regulatory benchmark sometimes by mid of next year, and we are working very hard in collaboration with other stakeholders. At the end also, I'm very pleased to announce that we have a new pledge to make. We believe that we can add around 40 million new broadband subscribers in next 3 years. So that's all that I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Extra minute because you made a new pledge. All right. That's incentive. No, I'm kidding. All right. We're going to go back online to Mr. Urza Chiloba, who's the Director General of the Communications Authority of Kenya. Over to you, Mr. Chiloba.
Thank you, Doreen, and the BDT team, Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Kenya pledged about $258 million towards fostering meaningful connectivity and digital transformation. The investment focuses on infrastructure and service, digital skills and content and application. With the new government, we have new opportunities. And under the leadership of His Excellency, the President William Samoei Ruto, Kenya has set out an ambitious plan of building a digital superhighway that has, among other things, prioritized the rollout of about 100,000 kilometers of fiber across the country. And the new government has also commenced the process of digitizing at least 80% of all government services starting the next 6 months. Ladies and gentlemen, while broadband penetration in Kenya stands at 96% in terms of population, just about 50% of citizens are able to access the internet and attendant services because of lack of access to smart devices. Just recently, the President of Kenya announced a private sector initiative to locally manufacture smartphones as a way of enhancing access to affordable smart devices. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, our focus is to continue with the implementation of Kenya's ICT Master Plan of 2022 to 2032 that anchors our vision of becoming a digitally transformed nation. We have a new USF or Universal Service Fund strategic plan under which we have initiated connectivity infrastructure projects targeting 168 unserved and underserved sublocations at an estimated cost of $16 million. Further, we have initiated the rollout of digitization projects cutting across the areas of e-health, e-justice, e-agriculture, and e-commerce. As a result, we look forward to working with different partners within the country and out of the country to really make sure that Kenya becomes a truly inclusive digital society. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And thank you again also for joining online. So next, I have the pleasure to introduce Ms. Astrid Bonte, who's the Director for International Affairs, Eutelsat. Over to you, Ms. Bonte.
Sorry. I promise I won't ask for more time than my 2 minutes because I don't have a new pledge to make today. For the moment, at least. But Madam Director, Secretary General-elect, Excellencies, dear colleagues, I'm delighted to be taking part in this first annual meeting, P2C meeting here, and to represent the private sector, and in particular, the satellite voice. I think it's indeed equally important to foster ambitions and commitments, but also to make sure that the stakeholders do honor their pledges. Eutelsat's commitment was to connect and provide high-speed broadband internet to more than 1 million people in the next 5 years. And we are talking about people located in rural, unserved areas of sub-Saharan Africa, people who have never had access to the internet before. With our satellite that is called Connect with a K, as you can see on our pledge, this satellite being worth $250 million, we had connected about more than 100,000 people last June when there was the Kigali summit or conference. Today, I'm happy to say that we have passed the 200,000 user mark for the Wi-Fi hotspots powered by our Connect satellite on the African continent. So a lot of them, I have to say, being in the DRC. So we are definitely on the right track to reach our goal. We are very proud of this achievement. That achievement shows clearly something, that the satellite is definitely part of the solution to bridge the digital divide, especially if we are seeking results by 2030, because our satellite, like others, is up and running and fully operational. So it's in everyone's interest that satellite be fully taken into account by policymakers, by ministers in countries, but also by funding organizations when they think about projects requesting connectivity, and when they write national digital strategies for countries. So that's what I had to say. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Monte. You did take longer, so we do expect a new pledge in the next week. So
Thank you, Doreen. If I may just add something, we are, of course, involved in a lot in Africa, but we are working already on another satellite to cover Latin America. So this is not an official pledge, but we're working on it for next time.
All right, excellent. I knew that prompt would help. So I'm pleased to now call on a voice from civil society, Ms. Karen Chia, who's the CEO of International Bridges to Justice. Over to you, please.
Good morning. It's really a joy to be here and to know that even though we have come from many different countries and many different places, that we are coming together this morning as one with the mutual one goal of universal and meaningful connectivity. So thank you. It's such a joy to be here. I am the founder and CEO of International Bridges of Justice, which works on early access to a lawyer, systematic early access to a lawyer for those in conflict with the law. So we fit squarely within SDG 16, which is peace, justice, and stable institutions. Access to justice is a cornerstone of SDG 16, and actually access to justice is a cornerstone for all of the SDGs. And I know that everyone in every country that's here today all have laws. We all have laws that say you have a right to a lawyer, a right not to be tortured. But unfortunately, and many countries are saying, hey, how can we work on this? We're lacking in infrastructure, and much of this can also be worked on and accomplished through digital connectivity. So really, really quickly, our dream is early access to justice for all. We looked at, with our commitment, building a justice hub, which is digital home, virtual home for all of the justice makers and all the justice community. A couple of really quick things in our 40 seconds, and I'm going to make a pledge, so I'd like a little bit more time. We've really looked at 3 things in the beta phase, which have been really very fantastic. One is in Rwanda. So it was a joy to see this morning when we spoke and heard of all the things happening in Rwanda. In Rwanda, we launched an app. And with this app, the lawyers have been connecting together with those who are accused, but also, and actually right now as we speak, they're having a training with a lot of the prison authorities, because the prison authorities have also been connecting people with lawyers through this app. The second part is that we are looking at institutionalizing defender standards worldwide. And from Asia to Africa, we've had countries and bar associations standing up and signing up. And at the same time, we also have had global law firms and individuals saying, we're going to help. We have one specific standard universal manual, which is on the Justice Hub, and people are coming forth and saying, hey, we can help with this. The third thing is that we, 21 seconds still. Over. Okay, I'm going to make a pledge though. So give me 50 more seconds. The last one I wanted to highlight is that we also on this Justice Hub convened a group of a women's access to justice program for 10 countries in Africa. And they were able to deliver over 800 cases of protection. And when I asked them what was the biggest problem, they said, we love the Justice Hub. We love that we were able to share best practices and convene. But what we didn't have is we didn't have enough connectivity for all of the countries. So a lot of the women had to drop off all of the time. It's a crazy thing, but prisoners are lost in the system all the time. One case of someone in 14, going in at 14, innocent at 17, they find him again at 40 and they let him go. This is something we can do through digital tracking. We're looking at how we can work together with people on digital tracking. I'm putting this all on the Justice Hub. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me go over. We need partners for connectivity, but we also need partners with all of you to support the capacity with all the governments that we're working with. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. To Ms. Ches left is the pleasure to introduce Ms. Laura Fernandez-Lord, who's the head of sustainability and women's empowerment at BBVA.
Thank you, Alex. First of all, I would like to express our gratitude to E2. It's an honor to participate in this important session and report on our pledge. Entrepreneurship is a driving force for society. It can help improve the livelihoods of vulnerable communities and increase their prosperity. Infused by the power of digital technologies, entrepreneurship ventures can scale faster and their growth potential becomes limitless. The BBVA Microfinance Foundation has pledged to invest $8 billion by 2025 to finance vulnerable entrepreneurs and to provide them with digital solutions, development programs, digital skills, and internet access. The pledge has the potential to impact the lives of 14 million people in vulnerable communities in Latin America, with a special attention towards women. Since 2021, we have already disbursed $2.6 billion and served 3.3 million low-income entrepreneurs, of whom 58% are women. Including the entrepreneurs and their families, this has impacted the life of almost 11 million people in vulnerable communities. We want to contribute to PC2 goals of reaching 60% of youth and adults with a minimum level of proficiency in digital skills and reduce the gender digital divide. As of June, the foundation had trained 500,000 entrepreneurs, mainly women, 32% virtually. 23% have received training on digital skills through social media and/or our learning platforms. Finally, we contribute to the PC2 goal of having 40% of the world population using digital financial services, mainly with our mobile banking apps, designed together with our entrepreneurs to be easy to use, saving them time and travel costs. We will not achieve any of these ambitious goals unless we work together, as we are convinced that working in partnership is the only way to advance forward. So let's partner to connect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Laura, and we look forward to meeting your colleagues in Dominican Republic next week. So that's an example of taking a pledge into a country with the government and seeing how we can accelerate pledge implementation. Okay, our final speaker, I have the very big pleasure to introduce Mr. Mohamed Chouari. He is the Special Advisor of the Secretary General for the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie. He will be presenting in both English and French. So a test for all of us who are still trying to learn French. So over to you, sir, Mr. Chouari.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you to all. Good morning. Dear Minister Paola Ingabire, dear SG-elect Doreen Bogdan-Martin, distinguished panelists and guests, our warm congratulations to Mrs. Bogdan-Martin and her team for the successful implementation of Partner2Connect. Thank you for having us today for this annual meeting, which happens 3 weeks after the 18th summit of head of states and governments held on 19 and 20 November 2022. Please allow me to continue my speech in French from now. I will then give some concluding remarks in English. La question de la transformation numérique a été mise au plus haut niveau de l'agenda politique de la francophonie à l'occasion du 18e sommet des chefs d'État et de gouvernement réunis à Djerba en Tunisie les 19 et 20 novembre dernier. C'est l'occasion de réitérer nos remerciements à la République de Tunisie pour l'accueil chaleureux du peuple djerbien et pour la réussite du 18e sommet de la francophonie. En adoptant les documents de Djerba, les chefs d'État et de gouvernement ont donné une impulsion afin de contribuer à un espace numérique francophone plus inclusif qui soit vecteur de développement, de solidarité et de connectivité dans l'espace francophone au profit des populations, en particulier les jeunes et les femmes. Cette mobilisation politique est aussi visible sur le terrain à travers des projets comme Déclic, formez-vous au numérique avec l'OIF, qui a permis dans sa phase pilote à 1300 jeunes, dont 50% de femmes, d'être formés et insérés professionnellement dans les métiers du numérique. Les chefs d'État et de gouvernement ont donné mandat pour poursuivre cette mobilisation francophone en favorisant le passage à l'échelle de projets comme Déclic à travers le développement de synergies et de partenariats. J'ai l'honneur de vous annoncer qu'un accord a été signé hier entre la secrétaire générale de la francophonie et le président de la Banque ouest africaine de développement afin de mettre en place un véhicule financier permettant de financer le passage à l'échelle de Déclic pour soutenir la transformation numérique dans les pays de l'Union monétaire ouest-africaine. En 2023, la mobilisation des écosystèmes et le développement de synergies avec les partenaires techniques et financiers, notamment au sein de la coalition Partner2Connect, devront être poursuivis pour consolider ces progrès et favoriser le passage à l'échelle dans l'ensemble de l'espace francophone. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to our congratulations to the Republic of Tunisia for the success of the 18th summit, I shared an example of initiative. Déclic is a Francophonie project launched a year ago in the pilot phase to contribute to youth employment in digital by reinforcing their skills. Déclic is an illustration of innovative project that directly contributes to Partner2Connect objectives, in particular, building digital ecosystem and value creation while contributing to reducing digital divide. Working with government representatives and other Francophone stakeholders such as local authorities, civil society, private sector, university, has been key to achieve these satisfactory results. Head of state and government give their support and guidance to full-scale the project in Francophone countries. We intend to further develop our collaboration with partners such as ITU and the Partner2Connect community in the frame of the next phases of the implementation of Francophonie Digital Strategy 22-26. I thank you all for your kind attention. Je vous remercie pour votre aimable attention.
All right, join me in thanking all of these amazing pledges and the progress made, and we'll end the session.
And thank you very much indeed to Alex Wong for moderating it excellently. Thank you. So without further ado, we are now going to go on to our next session, which is the Partner2Connect partner country implementation with a spotlight on Cambodia. And the moderator for this session will be Selina Abdullah, who is coming up to the stage now. And she will be joined by His Excellency Sok Puthivuth, who is Secretary of State for the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications, Cambodia, joining us virtually. Mr. Michael Wilms again, Partner and Director of BCG and Partner2Connect Knowledge Partner, and Alex Wong, Chief of Special Initiatives, BDT ITU. So please stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you, Max, for that introduction. We'll just give everyone another minute to change seats. People are moving. Excellency, I see you on video. Always very heartwarming to see people hugging each other here. Right, I think we're ready, because thankfully this is not the session that stands between you and lunch. Oh, there is another one after this, so we'll just continue. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Max has introduced me to you, so I won't repeat that, but suffice to say, my name is Selina, and it's my pleasure to be your moderator for this part of the program. Before I start, please, I'd like to remind you again to use your earpiece, which you have in front of you, to listen to our remote speakers. Now, after the very inspiring session on reporting, we would like to take you one level deeper to give you an indication of how we work with pledgers, pledging partners, and ITU's member states in getting these pledges implemented. At the 2022 World Telecommunication Development Conference held in Kigali, June this year, 2 new resolutions were adopted that have given ITU the mandate to catalyze concrete joint efforts to do 2 main things. First, accelerate connectivity. Secondly, bridge the digital divide in alignment with national digital transformation strategies. Now, in case you're interested, those are resolutions 88 on Partner2Connect and resolution 89 on digital transformation for sustainable development, and they are WTDC resolutions. So pursuant to that, ITU is now working with an initial set of partner countries to help advance their national digital transformation strategies in implementing existing P2C pledges and mobilizing new ones. And as of December 2022, the confirmed initial P2C partner countries are, and for the Africa region, Madagascar, for the Americas, the Dominican Republic, for the Arab states, Mauritania, and for Asia and the Pacific, Cambodia. In this spotlight session, we will also explore how P2C is providing support to Cambodia to advance pledge mobilization and implementation. So without further ado, I have the great pleasure to introduce His Excellency Mr. Sok Puthivuth, Secretary of State, Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications of Cambodia, who is joining us virtually on screen. Welcome, Your Excellency, another way for you. And good evening. We know it's evening there in Phnom Penh. That we will get back to you in a moment. I'm really delighted, and I'd like to acknowledge the presence of His Excellency, Mr. An Sok Hun, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the Kingdom of Cambodia to the UN Office and other international organizations in Geneva, who has joined us, and welcome, Your Excellency. And so in my script, it says now invite the speakers to the stage, but you know, the speakers were on stage. So I just said, halt, cease and desist, don't go anywhere, just stay here. And you don't need an introduction to them, but nonetheless, here are the dynamic duo, the most excellent Michael Williams, partner and director from BCG, and as you know, our knowledge partner for P2C, and his workship, Alex Wong. And he knows why I call him that. It may have something to do with Kigali. Alex is, again, the Chief of Special Initiatives, BDT, and he's also the lead for P2C, and unofficially my partner in crime. Along with the he of the gavel fame, Stephen Barrow. They are my partner in crimes, but he's left. So anyway, to kick us off, I'd like to invite His Excellency, the Secretary of State, to deliver his remarks. Mr. Sok, over to you, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Lena. And thank you. I'd like to acknowledge our Cambodian ambassador, Mr. His Excellency An Sok Hun An. On behalf of Ministry of Post and Telecommunication of Cambodia, I would like to start by thanking ITU and Ms. Bogdan Martin for inviting us to participate at the first Partnership2Connect Annual Meeting. My ministry is ready to be part of this initiative and excited to experience firsthand the applications of P2C pledge under ITU digital transformation approach. Cambodia's overarching national policy framework, Digital Economy and Society 2021 and 2035, and Digital Development Policy 2030 aim to develop the digital sector as a driving force to accelerate transformations of digital government, economy, and society. This is an important milestone for Cambodia's digital transformation journey, setting a clear strategic directions for whole of government move forward and to realize our visions of making Cambodia a high-income country by 2050. Our priorities involve building digital nations from foundations of digital government through strengthened digital infrastructure, cybersecurity, data center, e-document, digital ID, and collaborative platform. Taking this opportunity, on behalf of the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications of Cambodia, I'm very pleased to collaborate with ITU's Partner2Connect Digital Coalition and ready to be one of the partner countries to help contribute to realizations of P2C pledges. I believe that in the spirit of actions-oriented partnership, ITU and Partner2Connect will support our digital transformation objectives by identifying gaps and implementation strategy, and by helping us map key issue topics and programmatic capabilities of all stakeholders working on digital transformation in our countries. I'm very confident that our commitment in implementing national policy on development, on digital development policy 2030, together with partnership with ITU and the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition, will realize our common dreams of connecting the unconnected and building a digital society that is for the people, not just for a few, especially for our future generation. In early 2023, Cambodian government will be holding an in-country validation meeting that will bring together key players from private sectors, international organizations, civil society, academia, the donor community, as well as selected Partner2Connect pledgers to help us advance our digital transformation agenda, identifying gaps and mobilizing resources on digital needs. This will be a unique opportunity to set a vision among government policy, mobilize commitment, and coordinate actions among key stakeholders, and I cordially invite all of you to be part of this event. On behalf of Ministry of Post and Telecommunication, I would like to fully endorse the Partner2Connect Digital Coalition and look forward to your continued success and growth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you for the invitation. Definitely, and certainly the team from ITU and BCG, we are looking forward to that, and we urge you all to please save the date. Well, we'll tell you when the date is, but it will be
hopefully in the first quarter of next year, the in-country validation event. We thank you also, Your Excellency, for sending 3 officials from Phnom Penh to join us here today, and we appreciate Cambodia's commitment to P2C and being one of the initial partner countries. A warm welcome to Mr. Chanti Pisset and Mr. Pan David from the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications, and Ms. Singh Lina, representing the telecommunication regulator of Cambodia. Thank you for joining us in Cambodia. Warm welcome to you. And now we turn to Michael and Alex to explain how we are working closely with Cambodia as a partner country so that you have a better idea of how everything comes together. And gentlemen, between the two of you, you have 10 minutes. Over to you.
Thank you, colleagues, again. So now I'm wearing a bit of a different hat. And we wanted to give you a chance to understand better what does it mean when we bring Partner2Connect down to a region and a country. And it's also a lot in response to not just the resolution, as Selena has mentioned, but also what we know has been requested by pledgers, that they're looking for ways on how they can increase collaboration and partnership, and are looking for the ITU or the UN in general to play this role of being a platform. So we have many slides that we could have showed. We've picked 4 just so you can get an understanding of the kind of work we're doing to help support a partner country. And we're very honored and pleased that Cambodia is our first partner country. When Selena and I and some of our other colleagues went to visit your beautiful country back in June. So what we do is we first of all work very closely and are building our approach with the National Digital Transformation Strategy already in place. Most countries, I think, most of our colleagues from countries, you all have some form of a national digital transformation strategy in place. And the first thing we need to do is understand that and work with you to identify what are the key interventions that might be required to help accelerate the intervention. We then do a process where we map and we look at the pledges that have been made to the Cambodia country, as well as maybe pledges that have been made on a more regional or global basis, where maybe the country was not actually specified, because some pledges did not actually specify a country. And we now work to understand how can these pledges be implemented in the context of the Cambodia's digital transformation agenda. And that's not just Cambodia's own pledges. As a government, Cambodia has made many pledges itself, indicating its priorities, but of course also the other pledges, as I mentioned. And finally, we want to then create the platform so that we can align all the stakeholders together so that we can more quickly advance the digital transformation agenda using both the existing, but also mobilize new pledges. And really importantly, it's a chance to get the local community involved, the operators, the local civil society, the academic institutions, all who may not have participated in PDC at a global level. We want to engage them through pledges, so their commitment is actually recorded and they will be measured, and how they can work together to advance the overall objectives. And of course, we do this across not just all the stakeholder groups. Very important for us as the ITU to work within the UN system, and a key partner, of course, is the UN country team and the existing UN programs that are already there. Michael, over to you.
Thank you, Alex. And that doesn't work. And thank you to His Excellency again for opening the session, and also the willingness for Cambodia to be our first partner country. As Alex said, so the first thing we do is actually work with Mr. Sok's team to identify what are the key priorities across Cambodia's digital transformation agenda. And we've worked extensively with the government representatives to make sure that we truly understand the key priorities here. We then augmented that with the analysis of the DT wheel, which Selena introduced, and ensure that we fully understand the starting point of Cambodia across all of the dimensions of that DT wheel that will help drive the digital transformation. That revealed 4 key priority areas that we would like P2C for Cambodia to focus on. First of all, developing the right infrastructure, and particularly to increase the connectivity in the regional area where, well, as in many countries, there's still a lot to do. Secondly, improve the affordability of mobile and fixed broadband connections. I think we've seen this a lot in many countries. Sort of the affordability of mobile and fixed is way above what we see as the targets. And there's concerted effort needed in a multi-stakeholder approach to make sure that we can tackle that challenge. Thirdly, increase reliability and also the confidence in the digital systems. If we want to succeed in realizing that the transformation that Cambodia is looking for, we'll need to ensure that its citizens trust all of the digital platforms and institutions that are needed. And then last, but definitely not least, also build digital citizens who are digitally literate and who can work across many applications that they need for a digital life. So where can P2C help? I think the next thing we've done is actually look at the pledges, not only the pledges that were specifically directed towards Cambodia. If we can move to the next slide, please. But also the pledges. Attila? Thank you. So we looked at the pledges which were particularly directed towards Cambodia, of which there were 18 and an estimated value of well over 380 million. But we also looked at those pledges which are either aiming at global implementation or at an implementation within the region. And if you look at that full set, obviously we get to a much larger set of pledges. And the next step we are now executing is actually looking through each of these pledges and see, okay, which ones of these can actually help contribute to the 4 priorities we just identified. And maybe let me highlight one thing again, sort of when we had the ambassador of Australia highlight the pledges that Australia made a little bit earlier, we also see that there's a great overlap there already. And Australia is actually one of these countries that will also help contribute to the process in Cambodia. So particularly then, what are we going to do in Q1, hopefully when we have the validation meeting in the country? We have a set of objectives which in the end are all aiming to further and better the collaboration that you all indicated also in the reporting process across the various pledgers and the recipient countries, and ensure that we can accelerate the real implementation of all of these pledges and help solve the digital divide in Cambodia. So what we're going to do there is ensure that we develop a joint understanding of the current landscape of Cambodia's digital strengths, its weaknesses, set realistic targets, mobilize additional pledges, and or ensure that the pledges which are made at the global level can be targeted towards Cambodia in a meaningful way, and empower the key stakeholders that are involved in the digital transformation of Cambodia to have that great collaboration, not only on those 2 days, but across the board in the years to come. Who will be attending? Obviously, the key players in Cambodia, the government, the telecommunications sectors, but also the UN agencies that are active, and the pledgers with specific pledges in Cambodia, but also those with regional pledges where Cambodia could be one of the key countries to get it implemented. So we're looking for a three-day event where we're going to set these milestones on day 1 and then ensure that we get to a very practical implementation plan on day 2. Alex, back to you.
Excellent. And I should just add, we had the chance to present the P2C country approach to the UN resident coordinators in September. And in fact, the resident coordinator for Cambodia is extremely excited about what we're doing, and we have a call with him in the next couple of weeks. So we're really looking forward to that. I know many of you from our membership are looking for the ITU to work in coordination much more closely with our fellow UN sister agencies, and so we're really pleased to share that. I think a final comment I'll say on this part is that I announced earlier that that Dominican Republic is also a P2C partner country. I'm also pleased to share that in the Africa region, it's Mauritania, and in Africa, it's Madagascar. So we have 4 countries confirmed where we want to demonstrate the model of how P2C can be a platform to really catalyze and accelerate efforts to national digital transformation. Selena, back to you, please.
Thank you, Alex. I thought maybe I should say a bit about the DT wheel because I think we have a new audience here who are not familiar with our terminology. So it's the digital transformation wheel, and it's an approach that the Development Bureau takes when we assist member states who have asked us for support in digital transformation. There are 3 pillars based on the tested and proven formula of access, adoption, and value creation. There are 10 building blocks to this wheel, 5 in the access pillar, 3 in the adoption pillar, and 2 in the value creation pillar. Now, behind this wheel and behind the building blocks is a whole, 200 plus indicators, which will help us to measure exactly where you are in each of these building blocks. And that really makes up the 360 diagnostic that Michael was referring to. So that's just a little bit of background information so that you're aware of the tool that we are using. And this tool was developed in-house by BDT, although you've mentioned me. So it just remains for me to say thank you to the speakers. Thank you, Your Excellency, for joining us. Thank you to His Excellency, the Ambassador, and also to your colleagues who have traveled all the way here to meet with us. I hope this has been a fruitful session, and I hope it has provided more information to our audience on how we are actually going to implement P2C in terms of assisting our pledger countries in implementing their pledges. There's a lot more behind this, and if you have time, please just get hold of us. But now, indeed, I don't want to stand between you and the next session and lunch. So I will thank everybody once again. Thank you as well for your attention, and we hope to see you here again soon. I'm Sulina Abdullah. Thank you. Back to you, Max.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. And thank you very much to all of the speakers in that last session. Now, the last session before lunch is the 6th Equals in Tech Award ceremony, so you won't want to miss that, as well as the fabulous networking lunch, which will follow. I believe that we will have the slide is up. Okay, excellent. So let me go straight into it. Thank you very much indeed. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2022 Equals in Tech Awards. And I invite the Equals speakers for this session to come up onto the stage. Actually, before we do, we might just reset the stage a little bit here. Just bear with me one moment, Daniel. I think we'll need the banner just here. Thank you. Just so that everybody is well placed to be photographed and to be filmed. Great. That's okay. That won't, sorry, that can stay over there. That's okay. Thanks very much. Great. Lovely. Perfect. Okay. A little bit of organized chaos here. So bear with us one moment while everybody just comes up onto the stage, and I'll restart. Okay, if everybody's sitting comfortably, then we'll begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2022 Equals in Tech Awards. We are so pleased to finally welcome so many of you in person here after 2 years of online events. For those of you who've just tuned into this great event, I'm Max Jacobson Gonzalez from the International Telecommunication Union, and I'm delighted to be your MC for this inspiring event. Today's ceremony is very special, as we are organizing this edition of the awards alongside our Partner2Connect colleagues and members. Together, Equals and Partner2Connect truly highlights the need for regional and global cooperation and collaboration amongst all sectors to advance towards a more equal digital world. Every year, these awards recognize the transformative power and ability of digital technologies to revolutionize the lives of women and girls everywhere. The Equals in Tech Awards also celebrate women's leadership in the tech sector and recognize outstanding research efforts in gathering the crucial data that we need to help close the digital gender divide. And now I'd like to ask you to please turn your attention to a short video that we prepared to highlight the 17 incredible finalists for this year's awards. Excellent. Now, great work from you all. It is now my pleasure to welcome Doreen Bogdan-Martin, ITU BDT Director and ITU Secretary General-elect. As you know, Doreen will be the first woman to ever serve as ITU's Secretary General-elect, or actually Secretary General, in fact, and she is a true representation of Equals leadership goals for women in tech. So thank you, Doreen, for being here with us today. And the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Max, and welcome everyone. Welcome to the 2022 Equals in Tech Award ceremony. It's wonderful to finally be back in person since we last gathered physically. It was in 2019 on the margins of the IGF in Berlin. So great to be back together physically. Of course, we're also doing this in a hybrid mode. So welcome as well to our online participants. I think it's also quite fitting that this year's celebration actually comes in the middle of our Partner2Connect Day, which it's our first annual reporting event of Partner2Connect. It's fitting because Partner2Connect is all about leveraging the untapped power of partnerships to actually dramatically accelerate digital development. And of course, to me, so fitting because Equals, which is 100+ partners strong, I think Equals is one of the most successful examples of a partnership with a purpose and a partnership that's actually making a big difference. Together, Equals partners from around the world have leveraged resources, have put together their networks to connect girls and women to the internet, to teach them vital digital skills, and to even help them to co-create digital content that brings that real and transformative value to their lives. Partnership platforms like Equals and also Partner2Connect are all about impact, making an impact on the ground and changing lives. That's what we're recognizing today. And I want to commend every single organization that was nominated. Of course, our short list that we have just seen. And of course, today we're going to meet the finalists. And I do want to thank them for their hard work, for their courage, because it does take courage, and for their commitment to creating a better, more equal world through digital gender empowerment. Let me also express my appreciation to the Equals partners that have actually made pledges to Partner2Connect. It's great that the two efforts are coming together so well. It is by coming together, it is by pooling our efforts that we can actually amplify our impact and make something bigger and better on the ground. Today, we're going to celebrate some amazing winners. We're going to look at some, I would say, truly exceptional change makers. We will, of course, be honoring their initiatives, which I think are really groundbreaking. Too many interventions today and perhaps not enough coffee. But really, these initiatives are quite incredible, and we look forward to hearing from our amazing winners today. They're all playing their part in shaping this more inclusive digital future for all, a future that I think where we want everyone, everywhere to be empowered with access to technology, to be able to use technology, being able to possess the needed digital skills so that access and use can actually transform their lives of their families, and their lives of their communities. I think many of you know that the Equals Partnership and our first actual award ceremony that was in 2014. At the time, it was called GemTech, and it was celebrated at the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference back in 2014. And then we created, with some pushing from Matt's, the Equals Partnership back in 2016. And I was very committed to making a difference in this space. And rest assured, when I take up my new function in January, I will remain committed. It's been a huge privilege and an honor for me as BDT director to work with all of the Equals partners, to be able to see firsthand, in many cases, the work of our terrific partners. And when I take up that function in January, I will work tirelessly to ensure that the ITU as a whole delivers on its commitments to create an equitable digital future for all. So with that, and I know we're super excited to meet our winners, I hand back to you, Max. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Doreen. Thank you for those inspiring words. And there's nothing like leading by example. And what an example you have been showing with your groundbreaking and, in fact, glass ceiling breaking career to date. And we all look forward to seeing you walk into that office in January. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to have with us today a very special guest, Laura Fernandez, from the Fundación Microfinanzas BBVA, who joined Equals as partners following their win in the access category of the 2021 Equals in Tech Awards. So, Laura, please come and give your speech. Thank you very much indeed.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank ITU and the Equals team. It is an honor to be here today to give the keynote address for the Equals in Tech Award, an recognition that we had the pleasure to receive last year in the Access category. We became members of Equal in 2019. In these 3 years, we have witnessed how this is a truly committed and powerful group of multilaterals, corporate leaders, governments, and not-for-profit organizations that share the common goal of bridging the gender digital divide and partner for a greater impact. A theme that was at the top of the agenda during the last UN General Assembly is central to the UN Women Generation Equality Forum, where I believe many of us participate, and will be the priority theme in the next CSW in March. I am honored today to represent the voices of 1.6 million vulnerable female entrepreneurs that the BBVA Microfinance Foundation serves through a wide range of financial services, financial education, and technical assistance. According to the OECD, the foundation is the first philanthropic initiative in Latin America and one of the largest contributors in development cooperation towards gender equality. Since our creation 15 years ago, we have disbursed $18 billion, but what is more important, we have served more than 6 million vulnerable entrepreneurs, most of them women. There's no doubt that digital inclusion has played an integral role in the global response to the pandemic, and that more than ever, it has become an essential element for financial inclusion and sustainable development. But to better understand what access to technology or mobile banking means for these women, let me share with you the inspiring story of an extraordinary entrepreneur we support in Colombia, Celia Mosquera. Celia is 13. She was born in Cali, Colombia, but has lived almost all her life in Tumaco, a city highly affected by violence. She lives with her parents, who were forced to displace to the violent takeover of their land by paramilitary. They first live in an invasion neighborhood in Tumaco, in very humble stilt houses built on the river. Celia will soon graduate from university in ethno-education and community development. Here, she had the idea of her entrepreneurship after doing some research on medicinal plants found in her neighborhood. Thanks to the indigenous origin of her mother and the Afro-descendant knowledge of the community living in Tumaco, she started together with other women the first elaboration of cosmetic products, and oils and creams to ease muscle pain. She realized that rescuing the ancient recipes for medicinal purposes could be the origin of a business that could benefit her community and offer her a means of living. At this time, Celia saw on Facebook an Empropath announcement for young entrepreneurs. Empropath is a joint program with USAID that provides economic opportunities to 165,000 victims of the armed conflict. She applied and obtained a seed capital loan of $600 to renew her brand and use more technology in her production. Altamisa Tradición, her company, now counts with a registered brand, social media, and WhatsApp business. Today, she's certain her business will grow and plans to hire 2 employees, an old person and a single mother. Her personal motto is, "Your goals take you as high as your dreams." At BBVA Microfinance Foundation, we have witnessed many stories like Celia's, showing how COVID has accelerated the digitization of the most vulnerable, particularly women. Women have embraced technology at higher rates than men, becoming leaders in adopting digital financial solutions for their economic activities. Digitalization has permitted them to open new sales channels and mitigate the impact of the pandemic. And since our activity is relation-based, our loan officers have become role models in the use of digital devices and mobile banking. Frequently, they help women lose fears and misperceptions that technology is not for them. Also, the digital transformation in which we're already immersed put us at a vantage point to ensure that these women were included. We had taken the brands to our clients' home, saving transaction costs, bringing flexibility for their daily financial operations, improving our service, and becoming more efficient and quick in our loan disbursements. We have also implemented a project to connect remote communities in Peru and Colombia via cable and satellite, so they can access digital education and financial services. We have 48 antennas bringing new business opportunities for female entrepreneurs who live in these areas, and 55% of them are women. Once more, when women have the chance and the resources, they lead and uptake these solutions. I would also like to reinforce the importance on digital skills. As you know, Equals has also a skills coalition with very committed members to bridge the gender gap in digital literacy. In this respect, the Foundation has done important efforts to digitize our financial education programs through online training platforms in all our institutions. We have included content on digital skills and digital marketing, frequently in alliance with other organizations, some present here, and members of Equals. We also work with mobile operators to offer affordable data plans and smartphones to entrepreneurs. Our aim is to create a digital ecosystem where women can also learn how to digitize their business and connect, partner, and associate to be part of supply chain. Despite all these efforts and the work of many of you, women still face obstacles such as the lack of digital skills, poor connectivity, cost of data, safety and security issues, and social norms. And the divide is larger for rural, indigenous, or Afro-descendant women. As UN Women Executive Director, Missima Bahu states, the digital divide has become the new face of gender inequality. Let me finish congratulating and wishing luck to the nominees of this important award for their inspiring initiatives worldwide. Some are working to improve access to women with disabilities to prevent violence and offer education in Mexico. Others create digital ecosystems in Pakistan, offer skills to women in Argentina or the Czech Republic, empower girls in STEM through apps, or promote female leadership in Sri Lanka, Nigeria, and help digitize small entrepreneurs in Africa. Look at this filled room. I see so many committed organizations doing amazing and impactful work brought together by equals. I am confident that we are already making a difference and bridging the gender digital divide. As Generation Equality Action on Technology puts it, let's all imagine a world where women and girls in all their diversity have equal opportunities to safely and meaningfully access, use, lead, and design technology and innovation. Let's now put our imagination into action and spark a more equal and diverse digital transformation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Laura Fernandez, who is Director of Sustainability and Women's Empowerment. What a great job title for the Fundación BBVA Microfinanzas. So now the moments that you have been waiting for. As always, it's been very difficult to choose only one winner in each category. As we've had such an amazing group of finalists from all over the world, but finalists were chosen from more than 155 nominees representing 54 countries, and the private sector, civil society, governments, and academia were all represented there. So for the moment we've now all been waiting for, let's present the 2022 Equals in Tech Awards. And to present the 2022 award in the Access category, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Natalia Vicente, Director of Public Affairs and Communications at GESOA and Equals Access Coalition co-leader.
Thank you very much, Max. To bridge the gender digital divide, it is essential to achieve gender equality digital access, connectivity, and security. These access category finalists are making real impact in connecting unconnected women and girls around the world. As a member of the organization and co-leading the Access Coalition, it gives me great pleasure to announce this year's Equals in Tech Awards winner in the category of Access. This year's award goes to App Morada, Mexico. Thank you. We are in front. We are very grateful to be here today. For us, this award, it means hope.
hope that women with disability and their families in Mexico will no longer be invisible to the government and society. Mexican women with disability face the gender digital gap, discrimination, poverty, and extreme violence. 89% of them are victims of male violence and 19% do not denounce their aggressor. Admorada seeks that no woman with disability joins the 11 daily victims of feminicide in my country. This app and the Admorada movement will not be possible without the sum of leadership of women with disability in the 32 states of our country, without the constant work of Mexican Sign Language interpreters, activists, and feminists. The Morada app is the best example of the joint work between various sectors. That is why this award is dedicated to Mexican women with disability and their families, hoping that this work will be more accessible and inclusive. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Admirada, on your inspiring work. And now let me invite Matt Granrid, the Director General of the GSMA. Matt will present the second Equals in Tech Award, which is in the skills category.
Thank you very much, Max. It's a great honor to be here to present the award that I just forgot over there. I think this award is more important now than ever before. The pandemic, well, thank you. The pandemic has really shown the importance of having proper skills. And we know that digital skills will make up maybe 90% or so of the future jobs. So having the right skills is something that is absolutely critical with the right people. We have traditionally fished in 50% of the talent pool, which is the men. That is no longer okay. We need to fish in 100% of the talent pool in order to push technology forward. Now, this topic is something that we within GSMA cares greatly about and very much one of our core priorities of the Equals Skills Coalition, which we have the pleasure to co-chair alongside ITU for many years. So now, without further ado, I'm pleased to announce the winner of the digital skills category. And the winner is Chichitas, Czech Republic.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We will work on the pronunciation a bit. It's Chiquitas, but thank you for trying. You can correct my English afterwards. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, again. Good afternoon, dear panel. It has been said many times today that there is digital divide globally, and that there is another underlying problem, a gender digital divide, also globally. Where I come from, the Czech Republic, 90% of ICT specialists are men and only 10% are women. And I know it's not much better in the rest of at least Europe. But luckily, there are many outstanding initiatives and organizations that address this challenge. And one of that I represent today, and I'm truly honored. Chiquitas train 50,000 people a year in digital skills. Most of them are women and young girls. And our focus is on actually reskilling the existing population. I believe that our power lies in three things. It lies in very high quality training and creating opportunities for lifelong education, which we believe is very important. Secondly, our power lies in connecting industries, connecting academia, government, corporations, businesses, other sectors. And the third one, which I think is the most important, and the award goes to them, is our community, because without the community, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here today, definitely. So this award goes to our team, our partners, our supporters, but most of all, men and women who really believe in greater diversity and in IT and what advantages it brings. So to them, I say thank you. And thank you, Equals in Tech, for this incredible honor. I believe not only for Chiquitas, but also for the whole Czech Republic, as we are currently presiding the Council of the EU. So I believe it's very thematic. Thank you. Děkujeme.
Thank you. Thank you and congratulations, Chiquitas. Now, let me invite Claire Somerville from the Graduate Institute here in Geneva, just around the corner from ITU, to present Equals in Tech Award in the category of research.
Thank you, Max. Thank you. I think for those of us who are working in tech and gender research, we truly understand how desperately we need and to acquire good quality data and conduct good quality research. So I am indeed very pleased to be able to recognize and celebrate the outstanding work carried out in this very crucial category. The finalists in this research category are expanding our knowledge and understanding of the gender digital divide in support of evidence-based decision-making and more effective programs and policies. This year's award for outstanding research, which has had a very positive effect and contribution to closing the digital gender divide, goes to Education Digital Equity Initiative, Nigeria.
Good afternoon, Excellencies. It's indeed an honor to be here today, receiving this award on behalf of all the staff, volunteers, and partners of our organization called Aid for Rural Education Access Initiative. Our project called the Education Digital Equity Initiative is a collaborative effort between students, teachers, educational leaders, government stakeholders, and partners. And this shows what partnership means in indeed delivering a digitally equitable world. This project will, however, not be possible without the funding support of the UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office under its Digital Access Program. Development should be evidence-based and research-driven. This is the only way we can harmonize and leverage the synergistic value of policy, practice, and research in delivering inclusive digital development that leaves no girl behind. So, cheers to a award that listens to researchers and leverages evidence. We dedicate this award to all girls across schools in rural communities in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, and congratulations. Now, we would like to move on to the two categories of leadership awards. The first recognizes entrepreneurial leadership in a women-led business, and the second recognizes leadership achievements in the tech sector. So I would now like to invite Laurie Angarad-Rees from the UN Women Liaison Office in Geneva, and we're very pleased to have her confer the award for leadership in the SMEs category. In the SMEs category, thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, on behalf of UN Women, it's such a pleasure to be here with you today to acknowledge the wonderful work that these winners are doing throughout the world. We need women's leadership in all businesses of all sizes and all types. In the future, nearly every job and indeed business venture will require digital literacy. And it's essential that we support initiatives like these that help women entrepreneurs build sustainable, tech-enabled businesses to support their families and communities. Within Equals, UN Women co-leads the Leadership Coalition alongside EY. And we're overjoyed to present the Equals in Tech 2022 Award for Leadership in SMEs to an organization doing excellent work in building economic opportunities for girls and young women through ICTs. So this year's award for leadership in SMEs goes to Tech-Driven Entrepreneur Program, Zimbabwe. Congratulations.
Wow. Thank you, ITU. Thank you, Equals Hub. This is such a huge honor, traveling from my beautiful country, Zimbabwe, to come and receive this prestigious award. So in front of you is a lady who grew up in a community where a girl child was raised to get married. I did not have access to technology or information. I saw a computer for the first time at 20. And the Tech-Driven Entrepreneur Program became an initiative that my partner Loveness and I launched to make sure that women get equal opportunities to learn about digital marketing and technology. Since 2017, we have trained more than 8,000 women who have managed to grow their businesses beyond the borders of Zimbabwe and the borders of Africa. So we are so excited about the impact where women are now creating employment opportunities in their communities. They're now able to send their children to school because of their income, that they are growing their businesses through the adoption of tech. This is just a journey which has just begun. And I am so excited and humbled to be recognized. And I would like to thank you all and also our Zimbabwean partners for making this possible. Thank you so much.
Congratulations there, Tech-Driven Entrepreneur Program Zimbabwe. Now, we've reached the 5th category of the Equals in Tech Awards for 2022. It's the Leadership in Tech category, and I would like to invite Julie Lynn Tegland, EY's EMEIA Area Managing Partner and Global Leader for EY, we should say, Women. Get there in the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Max. It's a true honor to be with you all. I really want to thank you actually for having the award and hosting this at the ITU. I think this is so important that we raise the visibility on this, and how fantastic is it that we can be here together actually in a physical environment again. So first, my huge thanks to all of you. I am so inspired by all of the categories and the submissions that we've seen today. They're truly making a difference. Ladies and gentlemen, as I look around in the world around us and reflect on the challenges, I would say that it's going to take everyone to tackle those challenges today, both government, private, multilateral organizations, donors, civil society, and citizens to tackle that. We're going to need innovation and technology to leapfrog. But none of those things would be possible without the criteria of leadership. We require diverse leadership to actually attack those challenges and to make progress. And we all know from the research done that female leadership is different. It's based on categories of empathy, of collaboration, of navigating challenges. It's building role models because we all know that you can't be what you cannot see. Women embrace this, and this diverse leadership in all aspects gives me hope that together we'll be able to tackle those challenges across the globe. And many of them were mentioned already in the context of today's session. I have the great honor to announce in the thread of today's ceremony, the Leadership Award for Leadership Achievements in the Tech Sector, and it goes to women technopreneurs out of Sri Lanka. Congratulations, we're so proud. Thank you.
Greetings from Sri Lanka. It's amazing to be here to receive this recognition on behalf of all the women in Sri Lanka. I represent a telecommunications company called Dialogue Asiata, which I think, Mats, you know very well, my boss, Dr. Hans Vijaysurya, who's been very encouraging to let us explore all the opportunities and possibilities to support women as a telco. SLASCOM, which is the Sri Lanka Software and Service Association, which I represent Dialogue for, is one which is an organization of volunteers of about 300 who support leadership and technology entrepreneurship in Sri Lanka. With my team of women, we started out something which was to help women, particularly women entrepreneurs and girls and women, promote and embrace technology in business. And this is called Women Technopreneurship, WTech for short. And in the 2 years that we've been doing good work together, we have been able to support over 100 women from the rural areas of Sri Lanka. So this award is recognition, but also encouraging, and there's inspiration for us to carry on our great work, which we won't give up on. Myself, I've been working in a mobile telecommunications company for 34 years now. And 25 years, I just completed 25 years at Dialogue, the company that I work in currently. And it's been wonderful, the kind of work we do, supporting women, giving them, we have an app as well at Dialogue, which helps them pick up information, emotional support, and also some easy access to technology, and teaching women technology, as well as providing them mentorship, providing support in the areas of finding investors, finding information they need in digital marketing, helping them build apps, websites, and so on. And we will carry on our good work. And thank you so much once again for this great opportunity and encouragement from to everyone at Equals and ITU. Thank you.
Congratulations, women technopreneurs. Now, for the first time ever, we're presenting a new category, actually. It's a special recognition equals partner award to highlight and promote the work of our partners. And we know all about partnership here, don't we? So let me invite Jana Brugier who is Councillor for ITU at the Permanent Mission of France, Rougier, I should say, to the UN in Geneva to announce the winner.
Oh. Thank you.
With the award as well.
Thank you, Max. The work of Equal Partners is deeply important to the cause of reducing gender digital divide. And it is therefore a great honor to announce the winner of this category. The winner of the first Special Recognition Partner Award is Women's World Wide Web, France.
Thank you so much. It's really an honor. Thank you. Yes. Please. Thank you. Your Excellencies, dear distinguished guests, dear Doreen, and the Equals team, dear esteemed leaders here today, all partner members of Equals, thank you for this award and honor. I do not have adequate words to express what a privilege it is for Women's World Wide Web, W4, to be a member of Equals. Our work at W4 transitioned, indeed took a quantum leap when I had the opportunity to meet Doreen and the Equals team on the occasion of Girls in ICT Day in Ethiopia several years back. I was struck by the dedication, determination, passion, and vision of Doreen and the Equals team. While there were experts and ambassadors at the African Union Congress, the venue, above all, there were hundreds and hundreds of girls and young women whose voices the Equals team wished to listen to and to amplify. W4 subsequently joined Equals, and we are thrilled to be involved in various impactful projects powered by Equals. In the current times, turbulent times, times of conflict, war, the rise of autocracy, the work and vision of Equals are a source of hope. I would like to thank you, Doreen, for your exemplary leadership at the ITU and within Equals. At W4, we often say, without hyperbole, that the digital transformation and girls and women's empowerment are arguably two of the most important megatrends of our time. And if we harness these transitions skillfully, if we drive these transitions effectively, successfully, it could be a critical, positive game changer in the 21st century. Under your leadership, Doreen, along with visionary leaders, all these leaders on the stage here, and there are others who are also driving Equals, and with the excellent member organizations from across all sectors, at W4, we ardently believe we can close the gender digital divide. And this can drive inclusive, sustainable, socio-economic and environmental progress for everyone. I'd like to mention here my colleague, my dear colleague, Norzia, from the tribal zones of Pakistan, who has worked tirelessly for years to promote girls and women's digital inclusion, equality, and leadership. It is a victory for reasons you may read about on the W4 platform for Norzia to receive this award as well alongside me. Norzia is one of countless people around the world who share the mission and vision of Equals and who are working courageously at the grassroots level. At W4, we aspire to a collaborative edge. It is the spirit of cooperation that is a key strength of Equals. With Equals, as with many great things in life, the whole is larger than the sum of its parts. Together, we can achieve exponential impact. Now, I'd like to close by congratulating the other finalist in this category, EY, also a partner. You deserve this award too, of course, and I'm be happy to timeshare the award until you're on stage receiving it. And finally, I'd like to make a plea that we all contribute more to Equals. Dear Equals team, you can count on me and W4 on our continued support. Again, thank you, everybody. I and W4 are ineffably grateful to be part of this powerful global movement to bridge the gender digital divide for the benefit of everyone. That is Equals. Thank you. Thank you.
Many congratulations to you and to all the winners. Now, I would like to ask the winners to quickly gather here for a group photograph. So all the winners, could you just come on up on here? Actually, probably down here even. And then we'll have a big group photograph with everybody. They're doing the signs. So, okay, all right. We'll do group photo with everybody first, then we'll have the winners if you don't mind. We'll do it that way round. So everybody, make your way towards this part of the room.
Up here, no?
Yes. Okay, right. Well, thank you very much indeed. Let's give the winners and finalists a warm round of applause. Your work is crucial in the attempt at creating a more inclusive and equal digital world. Well done, everybody. So we would now coming to the awards, we're coming to the end of this awards ceremony. We would like to thank our sponsor, the Internet Society, for the networking lunch, which they have kindly laid on for us. ISOC has been an active and valued equals partner for many years and has helped shape the partnership in many ways. Thank you very much to all the participants and inspiring speakers who joined today. We hope that you will stay for the rest of this exciting day with Partner2Connect, and also join us in the cocktail reception too at 5 o'clock. You will have a chance to personally congratulate this year's amazing winners and to network with some old colleagues and friends. And I encourage you all to take this opportunity to make new friends by introducing yourself to at least one person you don't know. Maybe one way to break the ice is to take a few selfies with the P2C signs that the team have kindly put out there for you. Now, I must also let you know that the photographs that have been taken in this and the previous sessions will be posted on the ITU Flickr account, which is flickr.com/ITU pictures. And as we're running a little late, our next session will now begin at 2:15 p.m. So thank you very much indeed for your patience, and bon appetit, enjoy your lunch. And for those joining us virtually, we'll see you back here a little bit later on. Thank you very much indeed, and look forward to seeing you in a bit. Thank you. Goodbye.